Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to a rare episode of The Goldie Show, where prior to the beginning of the Iranian Revolution, I would go live in the evenings, and we would watch a documentary. We would have a documentary watch party about Iran. We would talk about it, have a conversation in the chats. So there you go. That's what we're going to do tonight. And one of the reasons that I'm doing this tonight, even though I'm super exhausted, is because my radar is kind of going woo 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 because I'm getting vibes that I had on February 27. I mean, we've already analyzed all of that today. So I also actually I also want to watch Sean Hannity when he goes live at 9 p.m., which is in about 20 minutes. So um, that's what we're gonna do at night. I mean, Jesse Waters is there right now, but I think if he was speaking about Iran, already missed that part. But I distinctly remember the closer that we got to the attack on February 28th, the stronger the messaging got, and I'm starting to see that again, not just from President Trump, not just from the people around him, but also from Sean Hannity and Mark Levin. So as much as I want to sleep, I don't know if I can. So we're gonna doom scroll a little bit. I don't know how long this is going to last. So I don't know how much of this documentary we're gonna get through, but we will start watching this, and then when Sean Hannity goes live in about 20 minutes, we'll switch over to Sean Hannity and see what the latest news is. So there we go. So this is a documentary. It's a very rarely seen documentary. It was filmed in 1977. And yes, this is our late Shahanshah Aryamir in his youth. So I think it says here 1935? Is that 1935? Yeah. Yeah, so this is our Shahan Shah, when he was a strapping young lad in his, I believe this would be in his early 20s, because he was born in 1919, and this is 1935. So here he is 26 years old. So all right, let's start watching this documentary, and I will keep an eye on Sean Hannity.
I still remember it. There was an old man there coming every day to supply our school with milk. And probably he had heard of me, and one day he asked me, where are you coming from, Persia? I said, Persia. Oh, he said, oh, I know, it's in America.
When I was in America in 1964, almost nobody knew where Iran was. And they would ask me questions like, how did you get here? And I would say, I came with plane, of course. And they look as if they don't believe it. They couldn't believe, we had planes. So after a while, I started saying, I came with flying carpet. I came on a flying carpet. And they
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't believe he made the flying carpet joke. Guys. So, oh my gosh, even back in like the 60s and 70s, when people were like, "Oh, you're from Iran. How did you get here?" They wouldn't believe us when we said plane. So the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, flying carpet." Oh my gosh. I love that this has been a running joke for like 60, 70 years. Oh my gosh. Let's listen to that part again.
And they look as if they don't believe it. They couldn't believe, we had planes. So after a while, I started saying, I came with flying carpet. I came on a flying carpet. And they look as if they really believed it.
Oh my gosh. Oh wait, where was that flying carpet? Remember that flying carpet AI video? Look at this. Look at this. Guys, so even back in like the 60s and 70s, people thought that, we Persians / Iranians traveled on flying carpets. Yeah, guys. So fun fact: we Iranians, we actually do have flying carpets. That's why Persian rugs are very expensive. Persian carpets are very expensive. However, you have to have the Iranian gene in order to activate the flying carpet, right? But here's a totally real and not AI generated video of flying carpets. There you go. Go star, go star. Real footage. Real footage of the Iranian flying carpets. Oh, poor guy, he was so frustrated.
Say, I came with plane, of course. And they look as if they don't believe it. They couldn't believe, we had planes. So after a while, I started saying, I came with flying carpet. I came on a flying carpet. And they look as if they really believed it.
Iran, or Persia as it was known for most of its history, is at the crossroads of the Middle East and Asia.
So these are the traveling schools. Okay, so one of the things that the Shah of Iran did, and I've explained this in a previous documentary that we've watched about Iran. So the Shah was on this very aggressive campaign, aggressive in a positive way. He was on a very aggressive campaign to increase the literacy rate in Iran because before the Pahlavi dynasty, when the Qajar dynasty was in power, the clerics were in power and they didn't want an educated populace. They wanted everyone to be illiterate, uneducated, and just like basically learn the Quran and that's it. So the Shah, he called it he actually called it like the war against illiteracy, and he actually created like this peace corps that was basically it was like a branch of the Iranian Artish, and it was young men and women who were tasked with going around the country and educating, right? Like basically building schools and educating young people. Now, there, back then, and to a degree today, there were a lot of like nomadic tribes, and the Shah, he wanted to respect people's way of life, right? He wanted to respect their nomadic ways and like the way that they've lived and all of that. So instead of forcing children to leave their families to go to like a residential school or something like that, instead the Shah creates something called mobile schools where you see this person. So this is like someone who's part of the Shah's like literacy peace corps, and this person would basically be assigned to a nomadic tribe, and it would be like a like a mobile school. So wherever the tribe went, this teacher who was, funded by the state, right? So the Shah paid for all of this using, government money. This teacher would go along with the nomadic tribes, like whichever nomadic tribe they were assigned to, and he would just have a mobile school and teach the children. So don't make the mistake of thinking that like this is like because the Shah didn't want to build schools. No, this is one of the mobile schools that the Shah started creating as sort of a solution to um, uh, you know uh, educate the population while at the same time respecting the culture and heritage and way of life of the various tribes. So that's what this is.
In the so-called free world, the image of Iran is of a land where oppression rules.
Oh, these are the communists, guys. These are the communist terrorists. We've spoken about this. Okay, this is good. This is good.
It's often stated or implied that Iran is a police state. If it was, this series of film reports could not have been made. Iran is a paradox. It's an anti-communist state with a leader who is putting into practice the policies which some revolutionaries only shout about.
Iran! Iran!
Persia was the first world power. More than 2,500 years ago, this city of Persepolis, now in splendid ruin, was the center of an empire which stretched from Greece to India. According to history, it's likely the Persians would have expanded still further and become the first supreme power in southeastern Europe if the Greeks of the mainland had not stopped them. It took the Persians 65 years to build Persepolis with the help of the most skilled craftsmen and materials from every corner of their vast empire. The conquering Greeks, led by Alexander, destroyed the city in a few days.
He burned it deliberately because he saw in this the essence of the empire. He saw in Persepolis the might and culture and everything that the Persians had seen in their own empire in one crucible. And he wanted to tell them that because it is Persepolis and your empire, then Persepolis is finished.
So these, oh, first of all, Amir, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that. Someone is asking, are these architectural sites still there? They are still there. However, they're not in a good state. The Islamic regime has tried to destroy them. At this point, they have not maintained them. Back when the 1979 Islamic coup d'etat happened, initially the the mullahs tried to destroy them, similar to how like the Taliban destroyed all the Buddhist statues in Afghanistan, and ISIS destroyed the Babylonian statues and cities, and even some of the Iranian cities in Iraq. But when they tried to do it in Iran, Iranians stopped them because we are very proud of our heritage and culture. However, that's not to say that the Islamic regime won't go scorched earth. And one of the things that we are actually very worried about is the Islamic regime destroying Persepolis and all of our ancient historical sites when they're almost destroyed. So we're keeping an eye on that, but it is a very real possibility. that the Islamic regime might destroy Persepolis or many other of our ancient heritage sites as a way to go scorched earth and, punish the Iranian people for kicking Islam out of Iran.
And your empire is also finished. And in fact, this is what happened. Once Persepolis was burned, then the Persian Empire collapsed.
Persepolis was destroyed in 330 BC. From that time till recently, and apart from brief periods of cultural and artistic achievement, the Persians were finished. From the late 17th century onwards, Iran's peasants were amongst the poorest and most backward in the world.
That's true. That is thanks to Islam, by the way. Thanks to Islam, because the mullahs had a feudal system, right? So the feudal, basically, think of medieval Europe. Yeah, that was medieval Europe. Basically, was what Iran was like until 1925, when the Pahlavi dynasty took over. So yeah, it was the Pahlavi. It was the grandfather of the current Shah. So it was Reza Shah the Great, who actually got rid of the feudal system.
The peasants had no human or legal rights of any kind. They were exploited without mercy, from within by the landlords and Iran's ruling elite, and from without by foreign powers, mostly Russia and Britain.
So, the father of the current Shah ascended the throne in 1941, but his father, the grandfather of the current Shah, Reza Shah the Great, he became the Shah of Iran in 1925 through a vote by the constitutional. A vote from the parliament at the time. So the Pahlavi dynasty was founded in 1925. So the first Pahlavi came to power in 1925, and then Shahanshah Aryamir ascended the throne in 1941. Yeah. No, that's okay.
In the province of Baluchistan, on modern Iran's border with Pakistan, a tribesman, Mahdad Notani, recalls the life of 25 years ago.
25 years ago, if a vehicle passed through this area, the people in the vehicle would have been done for to begin with. Then 100 or so local people would have been killed as well. Why? Because in those days the roads were unsafe. There were no schools. There were no gendarmerie posts. There were none of these wells or other developments. The people spent most of their lives fighting. There is a place near here, 18 miles away, called the cemetery. There are still the graves there of almost 70 Englishmen who were killed as they passed. Our people are buried there too, in 4s and 6s.
So guys, this is a Baluch tribesman, okay? And this so guys, it says at the bottom, you see where the ticker is? So this documentary was filmed in 1977. And right now he's talking about what the province of Baluchistan was like before the Shahanshah Aryamir, before he invested in the province. So he's saying 25, 30 years ago, there were no roads, there were no schools, there were no wells, there was no infrastructure. And then he's going to say the Shah brought about all of this development and industrialization. So yeah. Guys, so there are no Durkas here. There are no Durkas here right now. This is the documentary from 1977. I'll let you know when we see Durkas. This guy is not an imam. He's wearing a different type of turban or whatever. He's not a Durka.
The cause of the killing in the cemetery I told you about was our own territory, our land and water.
So my grandfather, like my father's father, he wore like a similar head thing, because this was a very it's a very traditional common thing, and it's not just like an Islam thing, right? Of course the jihadis they appropriate everything, right? So they've also appropriated like the head thing. But for example, if you look at Ferdowsi, right? If you look at images of Ferdowsi, so Ferdowsi is one of our most, basically Ferdowsi is the guy who, what's going on here? I just want to show this image. So you see this. So Ferdowsi is basically the Iranian version of Shakespeare. And Ferdowsi wore like this sort of turban, like head wrap type of thing as well. So it's not like a Durkha Imam thing. There's different styles, there's different variations. Yeah, like it could be kind of like Bedouin-ish as well. So yeah, just because someone is wearing like a turban, yeah, they also stole the keffiyeh 100%. The Durkhas also stole the keffiyeh. Yeah, and basically Ferdowsi is like the Iranian version of Shakespeare, and he basically saved the Persian language. So there's different styles and different versions of that. So this guy, no, he's not a Durkha. He's basically like a rural tribal person, right? So that's why he's kind of missing some teeth here, but because it's a rough life. It's a rough it was a rough life back in the day if you're living in a rural area and you don't have access to all the amenities. Yeah. And this is what the Shah was combating. So anyways, he's going to speak about this. Like he's going to talk about this now.
The cause of the killing in the cemetery I told you about was our own territory, our land and water. If a foreigner tried to take away a single stone from our territory, we were ready to lose 200 lives to defend it.
Okay, so did you catch that? So this is what Armin and Sean Hannity is starting. Okay. Sorry.
All right, and welcome to Hannity this Friday night. In a follow-up to their No Kings protest, the left is once again, they love taking to the streets, this time in support of communism, for their patriotic nationwide May Day protests against billionaires. The question is, who's funding and mobilizing the seemingly endless stream of radical left-wing protesters? We have a full report tonight. Also, President Trump moving to ensure the economy works for all Americans. Earlier today, he spoke to seniors at the Villages about tax breaks and Social Security changes. And while President Trump's economy works for all Americans, radical socialists continue to demonize wealthy Americans, but there may be a rift growing between New York City Mayor radical Zoran Marxist Kami Mamdani and the New York Governor Kathy Hochul, who just threw cold water on his latest plan to tax the rich. We'll have more on that later. Maria Bartiromo will join us. And Kamala's efforts to stay relevant ahead of the 2028 election are off to a bit of a sleepy start. But first, tonight we begin in Iran, where the rogue regime has offered a response to the draft of the latest peace deal. Speaking with reporters on the White House lawn earlier today, President Trump said, well, he's not satisfied, nor should he be. Take a look.
So they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied with it. So we'll see what happens. Iran wants to make a deal because they have no military left, essentially, and they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied.
All right. Now, remember, just yesterday, Iran's supreme leader allegedly vowed to protect their nuclear and missile capabilities at all costs, showing once again that the rogue regime cares more about protecting their nuclear ambition than their economy, their oil industry, or even the Iranian people. And let me be clear, there can be, under no circumstances, Donald Trump will never, ever, ever allow them to be a nuclear power. And for the sake of not just national security, but frankly, the security of the world owes Donald Trump a debt of gratitude. It is imperative the president hold firm. He will. But yesterday's statement, allegedly from the Supreme Leader, just another written statement delivered on state-run TV, which raises a whole new set of concerns. And one major question, who exactly is in charge of Iran right now? Over the last number of weeks, numerous reports have surfaced that the Supreme Leader may be either dead or severely wounded, disfigured, incapacitated altogether, leaving what is a massive void in whatever is left of the country's leadership. Now, one that President Trump told reporters today has led to so much infighting within the rogue regime that it may prohibit them from reaching a deal altogether. And here's what he said about that. Take a listen.
We're doing everything in terms of negotiating right now, in terms of the negotiation telephonically. They've made strides, but I'm not sure if they ever get there. There's tremendous discord. They're having a tremendous problem getting along with each other in Iran. The leadership is very disjointed. It's got 2 to 3 groups, maybe 4, and it's a very disjointed leadership. And with that being said, they all want to make a deal, but they're all messed up.
Now, in yet another sign of their bad faith intentions during the negotiation process, according to a new report, Iran has been using the ceasefire to step up their efforts to excavate missiles and other munitions that they hid underground or that were buried under rubble from previous airstrikes. Our very own Peter Ducey is live at the White House tonight in the press room. Peter, thanks for staying up late. We appreciate it. All right, the president said a lot today, but at the end of the day, I think the president is getting closer to not only the blockade, the embargo, but also going back to military strikes. He's giving every indication that is now under deep consideration.
Yes, and we have a soundbite where he told me exactly what is under consideration. But the president says about these negotiations that Iran is asking for things he cannot agree to. And we know what the magic words are. When it comes to these negotiations, the magic words are not please or thank you. They are no new nuclear weapons. Until the Iranians say that, President Trump is not going to budge. And even though the president and his team notified Congress that on paper, the hostilities with Iran have been terminated, that is just a bookkeeping thing, because none of the assets that the president deployed to the Persian Gulf have moved a muscle back towards the United States. So they had the CENTCOM commander, Admiral Brad Cooper, come here yesterday to lay out for the president exactly how he might be able to use the Pentagon and those assets to nudge the Iranians into saying those magic words, no nuclear weapons. And this is what the president told me.
You had the CENTCOM commander come in here yesterday. Was he briefing you on a different approach, options? What kind of options? How would it look different?
I mean, do we want to go and just blast the hell out of them and finish him forever, or do we want to try and make a deal? I mean, those are the options.
Do you want to go blast the hell out of him?
I prefer not. On a human basis, I prefer not, but that's the option.
And even though there was some reporting in the Atlantic in the last couple of days that J.D. Vance is worried and telling the president that he's worried about low missile and bomb stockpiles for the U.S., the president has said that is not a concern of his because they can always move munitions around from bases that they are in different parts of the world. So that is not a concern. These strikes are a possibility, but it doesn't seem likely if the Iranians just tell the president they're not going to build a nuclear bomb. At that point, he is putting it out publicly and privately. This will all be over, and the troops, the American troops, will come home. Sean.
You know, Peter, what the president said to me directly, he said, Sean, I could wipe out their economic infrastructure for the next 20 years, and I could do it in about 10 minutes. However, and he mentioned that in the earlier clip, that for humanitarian purposes, there's 90+ million Iranians that will be impacted for the next decade or so to come. He's trying not to go there. I prefer not. for humanitarian reasons. That really is the only thing holding him back. And he's hoping that they can sort out this power struggle so that he doesn't have to go that route.
Yes, and the other thing that would be holding him back right now is the gas prices are like $4.40 a gallon now. It's up about $1.40 from the start of the war. He knows that that is a big problem, but he said something that experts agree with. As soon as the strait is open, they will come down really quickly. But he does not seem to want, he seems to know that they can't go much higher without becoming a huge political problem for him and his pals up the street in a midterm year.
All right, Peter Doocy at the White House tonight. Thank you. It was a busy week for President Trump at the White House following yet another assassination attempt last Saturday as he welcomed King Charles and Queen Camilla at the White House. He hosted a state dinner, all while trying to navigate a ceasefire, negotiations, and a potential deal with Iran. Here with more, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. You know, I don't know why the legacy media mob, they don't like you, because your own wife said that you put yourself in harm's way to protect her. And then the media, they spun it the exact opposite way when it's not true. I mean, you can't win for losing here, Stephen.
Well, I will say that I was very gratified to see, although I certainly would never seek it out, all the people online on social media who were saying positive things, but it's just a husband's natural reaction. You know, we're down there, you hear all the glass breaking, you hear all of the plates dropping, you look around, you see everybody huddled to the ground. But what is any husband's instinct going to be? He's going to obviously put his body over his wife, in this case, my very pregnant wife. And so, again, that's just any husband's first reaction in that situation. But let me also just say what an exemplary job Secret Service did inside that room. What I saw is very fascinating. After the shots were fired and everybody was dropped to the ground, I looked around. I saw agent after agent after agent with weapons unholstered running towards the danger. I also saw a Secret Service agent within seconds get in front of the president to be that human shield. And I saw a president of the United States demonstrate total, absolute calm under fire, calm, confidence, command under pressure. Here's a man who has endured multiple repeated assassination attempts brought about by radical left-wing rhetoric, radical left-wing hate, and he is unfazed, undaunted, undeterred. But that being said, Sean, we must condemn the Democrat Party's rhetoric of hate and violence that continues to lead to these heinous attacks.
You know, I'm looking at the three examples. We have Butler, we have Trump International, we have what happened last Saturday night. In my view, things have to change a little bit. You're right. I have nothing but the highest praise for the agents on the ground that night. They will take a bullet for everybody in that room. They acted, you know, so fast. It was amazing to watch them in action. I'm worried that maybe we need multiple perimeters. Maybe they need to be further away from any venue where the president is. Maybe, you know, if it's going to be in a ballroom that has a hotel associated with it, why isn't every room swept? And after you sweep it, you clear it, you hold it. If they don't have the resources to do it, which I understand is a real concern, at that point, I would suggest that maybe that's not the right venue. This can't keep happening. They didn't sweep the treat area by those holes at Trump International. How did a guy get on a roof 130 yards away in Butler? I'm getting concerned, not about the agents, not about their bravery, not about their courage. I'm getting concerned that the perimeter is not far enough. I'm concerned there's not enough sweeping going on.
Yes, well, look, I can tell you that the Secret Service takes very seriously all of the questions that have been raised after each of these incidences. And every time one of these incidences occurs, they go into planning mode to adjust and adapt and change tactics based on each new evolving threat. But as the president mentioned, this venue is a uniquely challenging venue as a ballroom venue. the number of different entrances into the hotel, the number of guests that are staying at the hotel, the number of protectees, the number of government officials that are here at the same time, the number of obviously media personalities and business officials and everyone else. And it's, again, part of security. It's a very important point. Part of security is also having the most secure venues, and that's why we need the White House ballroom. But let me just say again, President Trump has shown leadership over and over and over again in the face of death and in the face of danger. But what we need is a Democrat Party that is going to tell its radical members and base to stop fomenting hatred and violence that is threatening the life of our president and is threatening the safety of Republicans and conservatives all over this country.
Hey, Stephen, they're threatening your family. They've doxed your house. They've doxed your family. You've got now 3 young kids at home. I mean, this has got to stop. Their rhetoric is so over the top. It is dehumanizing. It is insightful. You couldn't be more right. Anyway, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad Katie's safe. I'm glad the baby's safe.
All that
scary
matters.
Times.
Yeah, so look, those of us serving President Trump, we follow his example. We don't think about our safety. What we think about is doing our job for the American people. And President Trump understands that we can't have a republic, we can't have a functioning democracy when you have radical left-wing domestic terrorists that are constantly at war, violently at war with the people that are trying to serve this country. What happened to Charlie Kirk, what's happened over and over again to Republicans and conservatives across this country, what happened in the near-death experiences for President Trump is completely and totally the result and the byproduct of a campaign of dehumanization from the radical left in this country. And we have to recognize that, Sean, and be honest about it.
It's dehumanizing. It's insightful. And frankly, their words have meaning. And there are crazy people out there, and they listen to it day in and day out. Nazi, fascist, racist, Gestapo. It's got to stop. Stephen Miller, glad you're safe. Glad the president's safe and everybody else. All right, thank you. Now, despite what the radical left and some in the legacy media mob are saying, some of whom are actively rooting against our own country, what they're trying to tell you is Iran is absolutely not winning this war. This is madness on their part. In fact, much of the country's military, it has been decimated, as we just played the president saying. They are flailing. And as Victor Davis Hanson says in a new column, Iran is losing this war. They're losing it badly.
Yeah.
And the global balance of power is now shifting. He's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Victor Davis Hanson is here.
Guy.
I have a heart. Is it that they can't give credit to one of the most successful, historically speaking, military operations ever in history? They just don't want to give this man any credit?
Well, I think it's not a military problem, it's a political. They feel that by the negotiations going on and on, that gets us closer and closer to the midterms, and they can say the price of gas is higher and the war is not resolved, so therefore it's Trump's fault. And so, you know, and even though empirically there is no really a command and control left of the original one, militarily they're flattened. The only question is, we don't want to go in there with ground troops and fight their type of war to have regime change, so we're strangling them, and it's going to take another 2 or 3 weeks. And they don't think that we have it. The Iranians don't, based on their listening to the American left and the European left. But in a wider sense, really quickly, Sean, the world has changed from the post-war order. China has lost its subsidized oil that it bought from sanctioned countries like Venezuela and Iran. Russia's out of the Middle East. It's lost both Syria and Iran. It's tied down in a slog in Ukraine for 4 years. The United States has shown China that if it wants to go across 110 miles to Taiwan, it's going to do so under a swarm of missiles and drones, both aerial and marine. And I don't think they're going to want to land 300,000 people and against the kind of conditions they've seen the United States can apply to them. So in a geostrategic sense, it's been very positive for the United States. It's really changed the whole world order. And with the UAE getting out of OPEC, 50 years of OPEC dominance, all those members, the 23 members, they're only pumping 70 to 80% of their capacity. If they want to go up to 100 to capitalize on this spike, they could. Venezuela's coming back on the market slowly, but back on the market. And so long term, it's very favorable to the United States.
So you have the radical left, the legacy media mob, the head in the sand isolationist movement. So their option, their choice would be to do nothing, and your kids inherit a nuclear-armed Iran with their radical Islamo-fascist mentality, death to America, death to Israel. That's their choice?
Well, that's been the choice of the last 7 presidents. It's just so it doesn't happen on my watch. So either give them money by night, send in pallets of cash, or just ignore what they've done to us in Afghanistan and Iraq when they use the shape charges, or you name it. No president has ever wanted to get near Iran. They had this hyper-inflated reputation of being indomitable and fearsome and terrifying. And everybody said, you can go in the Middle East, but get away from Iran. They're crazy. They're too strong. But so this is new. This is the first president that said, I don't really believe they're invincible. I think it's all a myth. And I think they're very dangerous. And after 7 presidencies, they're getting very, very close. Time has run out. It's now or never. And people had said to him, well, you're going to take a greatest risk of your presidency because the midterms are coming up and the price of gas will go up. And he took that risk. And I think he can pull it off still. But it was a great risk that no other president would have done. They didn't.
Every source that I have, every person that would know at the highest level have all said to me the same thing based on information they didn't provide to me, but information that they have. The president had no choice. Steve Witkoff on this program said they had enough 60% enriched uranium in less than 12 days that could be weapons grade. And we learned that their ballistic missile range was far greater than we thought. They could hit Paris, they can hit London. So I just don't really think the president had a choice except to let him have nuclear technology, which I don't think is a choice.
No, it isn't. Although some people in Europe and some people on the left thought it was, but it's not. If they had nuclear weapons, they'd have a sword of Damocles over all the Gulf nations and all of Israel, and they would dictate the entire traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. And if we said anything, they would keep saying week after week, do you want to lose San Francisco, LA, except just like North Korea, but on steroids. So we didn't have a choice, but it was a big gamble because the economy is all set to boom. All it needs is this missing ingredient of what we had were low gas prices. And Donald Trump can still pull it off because I think in 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to be strangled, the economy, and they'll have to negotiate. Or if they don't want to negotiate, he can always use the kinetic option and then just say, you know what, I'm going to neuter their nuclear ability from the air as much as I can and their oil revenues as much as I can. And that'll set them back 5 or 6 years. But he's got all the options in the world. They have none, really.
Victor Davis Hanson, you're back. You're stronger than ever. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. All right, coming up, it is May 1st, also known as May Day, which means radical leftist activists nationwide flooding the streets in the name of progressive change. We've got the latest insanity straight ahead.
A multi-billion-dollar Roundup settlement is paying claims. If you were exposed to weed killers at work or at home, your rights are affected.
Guys, who's getting exposed to weed killers in the class action?
You need to register for benefits. You could receive $6,000.
Okay, guys, it's the 1st of May. I should have played this yesterday, but I forgot. So, in honor of the first day of May,
it's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May.
There we go. Play that again.
It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May.
The ladies know what I'm talking about. You guys know that meme. I should have played that yesterday, but too focused.
It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May.
There we go. It's gonna be May. or however he says it. I've never seen them live. I've never been like an NSYNC or Backstreet Boys fan. Not my thing. I mean, it's cool. Like, I for some reason I know the lyrics to like all the songs because it's just you hear the songs over and over. But this can be the new Rick roll. It only works for like April 30th. So what documentary are we watching? We're watching a documentary from 1977, but right now I'm just keeping an eye on Sean Hannity. I'm keeping an eye on Sean Hannity, but when this is done, we're going to go back to the documentary. It's a 1977 documentary about Iran. So wait, what's this? Honestly, American commercials are so weird. I don't understand that.
Satisfied customers. The number one thing to prepare for is extended power outages. Don't make it so hard on yourself. Have a Generac home standby generator.
Okay. I'm sure there are some Canadians in the live stream here. So to the Canadians in the live stream, do you guys agree with me? Like American commercials are weird because we never see like these types of commercials on Canadian TV. Like we just don't.
They're manipulating the population.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like you can just tell. You can just automatically tell when like a commercial is American or Canadian.
To put a new roof over their head. It's too expensive. And if they can extend the life of that roof and get 5 more years.
Like American commercials are about like class action lawsuits, insurance.
They don't have to spend that $15,000-$20,000 on a new roof.
I don't know this stuff. Whatever this is.
A small percentage of cost of
yeah, it's basically like big pharma, law firm ads, like insurance. Yeah.
I'm a retiree. I'm living on a pension. I get a bill for almost $40,000 from the IRS.
What
There's
is
no way
this?
I can pay that, but tax relief advocates got that down to $3,200. That is a miracle in my book.
At Tax Relief Advocates, we may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe the IRS.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, and I made the call.
Canadian commercials are different.
Call 800-404-1416. 800-404-1416.
When it comes to buying precious metals, you have options. The question is, who should you trust? At Orion Metal Exchange, our clients get expert guidance, live online pricing, and top-tier customer service.
I don't know, what are Canadian commercials about?
Other guys charge, giving you greater profit.
Honestly,
potential.
I don't watch
For
like
precious
cable
metals,
TV,
trust
but
Orion.
I don't know. Let me just like
call now. To
let
learn
me
more
just bring
about
up
our
some
fee-free
Canadian
gold
commercials
IRA
for you guys.
and the art of the rollover, the gold IRA made easy.
Okay, next commercial break.
This is a Fox News update. I'm Christina Coleman in Los Angeles. Buying a European ride could soon become a lot more expensive. President Trump says he'll hike tariffs on European cars and trucks to 25% starting next week. The president is accusing the EU of failing to comply with his 2025 trade deal, but
I've loaded up
did
a
not
Canadian
specify
commercial.
in which way the deal was violated. The trade deal had capped U.S. tariffs on most European goods at 15%.
Right.
Spirit Airlines is preparing to shut down, according to a report from Fox News' sister outlet, The Wall Street Journal. The budget carrier has struggled to get back on its...
All right, I'm just going to pause and I'm going to switch it over because I also want to make sure we don't get a copyright. So here's like a Canadian commercial.
New chocolate and pistachio go perfectly together now. You know, try Tim's.
There you go. That's a Canadian commercial. Oh, Sean Hannity's back.
Where they have a long history of flirting with communism, socialism, statism. Today is May Day, a festival, official holiday in many nations. Now, it blends, quote, worker solidarity with ancient pagan rituals celebrating the arrival of warmer weather. Now, the whole thing is a little bit weird to me and not something that we Americans really want to be a part of, except, of course, for the radical left in America. Now, they see today as one of their best opportunities every year to celebrate communism, protest millionaires and billionaires, whatever that means. But despite what you might think is actually happening, it costs a lot of money to put on all these protests all around the country. So it does raise the question, who's paying for them? Wealthy people, the exact billionaires the protests claim to oppose. And while that's not a surprise in and of itself, it's very concerning that the demonstrations today are being increasingly officially backed by various arms of the Democratic Party, you know, from state parties to labor unions. Now, Fox News Digital
This is
actually
the unholy
had a
alliance
chance
of
to
the red
talk
and
to
the
a
black.
few of these crazy protesters. And as you will see, well, these clips, we'll just take note of what's going on in the background. Take a look.
Today we're here, you know, to support immigrant workers, to support families, to demand, you know, that their rights are protected and defended.
Over 140 years ago, people marched, bled, and died on this day. We also in coalition with our immigrant communities who have been under attack under this administration. So today we're all coming together just to say that today is Workers' Day, today is Immigrants' Day.
Does that make any sense? And of course, as Tim Allen pointed out on X, these are the very same people who took to the streets to yell "No kings" in the past, and yet they did nothing this week when we had an actual literal king, the one we fought a war to get away from, parading around the streets of our country. Anyway, here with reaction, Fox News political analyst Reince Priebus, Republican strategist Erin McGuire. Erin, all right, you want to, I saw furs in the background. I still don't really know what they are, but I saw them.
I don't think the day today needs to be the day where we figure that out, but I can tell you what an absolute joke that is. And it shows what an absolute con the Democrat Party is in this country. They scream about billionaires, about the wealthy, about kings in this country, but they're more than happy to try and take as many photos of King Charles and give him standing ovations. They've got a billionaire funding these quote unquote grassroots movements, protests that are now absolutely the ethos of the Democrat Party.
Look at the furries!
Democrat billionaire saying he's going to tax billionaires if he becomes the governor of California. I mean, it's absolute lunacy across the board. And the fact that it is funded by such dark money groups like George Soros, like those aligned with the CCP, it shows you that the Democrat Party doesn't actually have a real movement behind it, that they need this dark money to stand up the con that somehow all of these people are against Donald Trump and America moving America first. And what do you see instead? You see a joke of a protest with a giant furry in the background and a man wandering around in the blanket. If that isn't the Democrat Party in 2026, I don't know what is.
I don't know, Erin.
Yeah, the
maybe
fat guy with the
Reince
blanket.
can tell us
What
what
was
the
that
furry
all
part
about?
is. But the reality is, they don't make any sense. So you have California, and you have Washington State. The Washington mayor actually said, "Leave." You know, people that have money that don't want a wealth tax. You're going to have a wealth tax in California. You're going to have one in Washington. You're going to soon probably have one in New York. All around the country, all that is going to do is push rich people out. Ken Griffin this week said, you know, I'm going to rethink the $6 billion I was going to invest in New York City after Mamdani took a shot at him.
Well, it's just a wackadoodle. I mean, this entire thing is unbelievable. But to Erin's point, I mean, they call it organic. There's nothing organic about. Well, they claim 3,000 of these. I don't think, and maybe there's 300, but there's nothing organic about 300, and there's nothing organic about spending $2 billion. You know, if you add it up, the total amount that the Trump campaign spent and the total amount that Kamala Harris's campaign spent, it would come up to $1.8 billion. They spent more money, apparently, on May Day. And because of this, they can take a 501c3 and a 501c4, and they can take their money, their billions of dollars, and they can put it into a tax-deductible shelter. And then they can use that in order to create a voter registration event. They can collect data. They can do all of the campaign events that you're watching here today to recruit. Yeah, they're wacky, but this is what they're doing. And they're collecting data, registering voters. They're using tax-deductible money to do it. They do it all the time. And the same funder funded Code Pink. He funds the People's Forum, these anti-capitalist disruptors. This has been going on for years and years and years, and I think the IRS should do something about it, to be honest.
You know, Erin, the American people are watching this. The Democratic Party is catering to that base. What is the average American thinking as they watch this crazy stuff?
The average American is thinking, can you get out of the middle of the road? I'm trying to get to work and I'm trying to get home. Can you knock off these crazy protests where you shut down the street? I mean, the American people see this for the lunacy it is. You're seeing these people running around screaming about tyranny in the freest nation the world has ever known. They're running around screaming about kings when the only king this country has seen just left the country yesterday. I mean, the fact that Democrats want to run around and pretend that there are all of these issues in the country when in fact it's just them pretending to inflame rhetoric to do what? For the outcomes we've seen where there have been 3 attempted assassinations on President Trump. It's absolute lunacy by the left, and the American people should see it for what it is. It's not real. It's not really what's going on. And what's really going on is a president who's trying to make America more affordable for everybody, not this crazy stuff Democrats are doing.
I guarantee you there's IRGC
keep hearing
funding.
Nazi, fascist, racist, Gestapo. Oh, in Maine, the Democrats will run a guy that had a Nazi tattoo. How lucky is Susan Collins?
Yeah, and yet all the podcasters and all the Democrats are equivocating. Well, you know, he changed. He was never, you know, maybe he was that way at one point, but he went through some hard time. I mean, look, the guy's got a Nazi tattoo on his chest. It's out of control. And as far as these rallies, one more thing. I mean, they claim they're for the working people, and their answer is no school, no work, no shopping. Well, guess what? That hurts working people. And by the way, you know what else isn't there? There's no American flags either.
Yeah,
you see every other country, but not an American flag.
There was even the Islamic regime
Ryan,
flag.
thank you.
Even
Aaron,
had the
thank
Islamic
you.
regime
Donald
flag.
Trump's economy now firing on all cylinders for all Americans. Meanwhile, our tensions mounting between Mayor Zoran Marxist Kami Mamdani and Governor Hochul in New York, our very own Maria Bartiromo. She'll weigh in straight ahead.
I love Maria. Okay. I think he's done speaking about Iran. However, I do really like listening to Maria. So maybe we'll go back to that. Okay, guys. So here's a commercial break. Some Canadian commercials for you guys. Okay.
When I wake up in the morning, I'm still asleep. I really don't want no toast. I want no OJ, no tea, and no cereal. It be a yogurt drink I'm wanting first. Oh, give me up, me mama smooth up, me mama give me up, me mama when the morning come. Give me up, me mama, yup, me mama, yup for when the morning come.
Yeah. I know the lyrics to that one. Okay.
How's she getting on, my son? She was born and bred back home, eh? She's called Nissan X-Trail Bonavista. Pick again with that Penroof, buddy. But that don't put a gust in your spinnaker, I don't know what would. And look at the wheels on her. Got enough alloy in there to fill a bucket. She got the climate control on the inside in case you got the mother along with you. If you got a hot and you got a washer on, you got the washable forward to that. Like my mother always said, she said, you got a single line, you can add 2 hooks.
Okay, I think like this is like a very like exaggerated like Newfoundlander accent. So this is from like Eastern Canada. Like think of like the Atlantic provinces. I think this is like a super like super exaggerated Newfoundlander accent. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Get your Nissan X-Trail Bonavista edition with $1,000.
Forward to that. Control on the inside in case you got the mother along with you. If you got a hot and you got a washer on, you got the washable forward to that. Like my mother always said, she said, you got a single line, you can add 2 hooks.
Hey, we love our Newfies. Newfoundland. Yeah, I mean the Newfoundland accent probably is the closest to, I guess, maybe Irish or Scottish, but yeah, we love our Newfies.
I'll take it.
Get your Nissan X-Trail Bonavista edition with
Like so we can't understand them, but we love them. So the whole like the reason this commercial is funny is because the dealer is speaking in a Newfoundlander accent, and the other guy has no idea what he's saying, but he's just like, yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Get your Nissan X-Trail Bonnet Vista Edition with $1,000 added value. Just $29,998 at Nissan's bottom line sales event.
Yeah, it's Newfoundland. Oh, Coffee Crisp! Okay, one of my favorite chocolate bars. Guys, one of my favorite chocolate bars is Coffee Crisp.
Another one bites the crisp. Talk about Coffee Crisp. And it won't be long till another one's gone. Everyone likes a crisp. Beneath that red and gold wrap is a nice light snack. You know I can't resist. Coffee Crisp. Another one bites the crisp. Talking about Coffee Crisp. And it won't be long till another one's gone. Everyone bites the crisp.
Yeah, Coffee Crisp is so good.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in any.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, guys. I think this is one of those beer commercials. Like, I'm Canadian, like Molson Canadian or something. Guys, this is a beer commercial.
Or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peace.
Oh, Sean Hannity's back.
Sure, the economy is working for all Americans. He was at the Villages in Florida today speaking to seniors.
We'll go back to that after.
About tax breaks and Social Security changes. Take a look.
Thanks to the massive tax cut, American seniors just received your largest tax refunds of all time, by far. And here in the Sunshine State, we've issued 2.5 million Florida seniors over $13 billion.
Now, this comes as earlier this week, the president signed an executive order to expand access to retirement accounts for Americans that do not have employer-provided plans. And meanwhile, the number of Americans now filing for unemployment benefits fell to their lowest level in more than 5 decades. But of course, Democrats, they still are not happy. And rising, socialists on the left continue demonizing wealthy Americans. They want the wealth tax as wealthy residents now flee Washington state amid rising taxes. Well, Seattle's socialist mayor, Katie Wilson, she's laughing and waving bye-bye to the millionaires who keep her state running. This is the dumbest move any elected official could ever make, but you decide.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
And New York City Mayor Zohran Marxist-Kami Mamdani is scrambling to fill his budget gap, looking for new ways to, quote, tax the rich. Governor Hochul of New York said his plan is not happening and that he has to stop spending so much instead of proposing new taxes. Here with reaction, the host of the hit show, I never miss it, Sunday Morning Futures and Mornings with Maria, our friend Maria Bartiromo is with us. Okay, if they want to say goodbye to wealthy people that pay the vast majority of taxes, I'm perfectly fine with all of that money moving to my state of Florida. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Sean. Thank you so much for having me. And that is exactly what is going to happen. We saw it in New York. And remember the mea culpa that Kathy Hochul had to take when first she said, oh, well, get out of here if you don't want to be in New York. And then months later, she had to come back and say, well, our tax base has been completely depleted. We need to go to Palm Beach and get all of those millionaires and billionaires back. So clearly, the mayor of Seattle is unaware of the ramifications that money is mobile and it will leave.
Let me tell you, I can tell you living in South Florida that Wall Street South, Maria, you know this, it is very real. Every big bank, every private equity firm, every investment firm, they now usually have more employees in Florida or Texas than they do in New York. People are leaving with their feet. And by the way, I would not blame Ken Griffin. I'd encourage him. Don't spend $6 billion in New York City after what Mamdani did to him.
Yeah, and I know that Stephen Ross is doing all of this construction in Florida. He was just on a panel that I moderated, and I'll tell you, he has a good story to tell. He told me, Maria, I'm getting all of the components around the infrastructure that business needs, so that business moves their headquarters to Florida, so then they have to hire employees, and employees have hospitals and schools and the infrastructure that they need for families. It's a great idea. That's what he's doing, and you are seeing a massive movement to Florida. I totally agree. Look, it's about fundamentals. I mean, you know, all of the states that we talk about are seeing a different and an uneven impact of what's going on right now in terms of policies. Everything goes back to policy, Sean. That's what we're talking about, whether it's the country as a whole, President Trump's policies, or state by state. Policy drives activity.
Listen, I can confirm that Steve Ross, everywhere from West Palm Beach all the way down to Miami, has been building high rises left, right, and sideways. And all of them are fully occupied. They're all, he thinks he's going to get X number of dollars. He's getting twice that amount in a lot of those buildings.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And, you know, there is so much confidence right now in President Trump's policies. I mean, that's the only thing that these states have going for them. The fact that on a national level, President Trump has changed the game. I mean, look at the stock market right now. We're at record highs once again. We're in the middle of a war. We saw oil prices spike, and yet GDP is growing. You had the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent the other day talking about 2.5%, 3% growth. You had Jay Powell, who is not a friend of President Trump. Jay Powell has to admit, well, consumer spending is still going. It's very strong. Why? We've got all this money moving into data centers and construction. The other day, I spoke with the head of Meta. She said, the president of Meta said that we need 500,000 new electricians right now because of this data center build out. Why? It goes back to policy. President Trump came into the White House and said, I need all the supply chains in America. Get your supply chains out of China. Start investing in America.
Guys, actually, if you want to have like a job for life and make like incredible money, become an electrician. Become an electrician. Become like a master electrician. Like, you're set for life, because electricians are in such high demand, and it's like incredible money.
$1 million, Sean. Okay, my mother told me early on in my career, make sure you put as much money as you can into the 401k, and the company will match it. That's how I did it, and that's what you should be doing: investing and putting money aside for retirement.
All right, Maria's going to have a seminar, how to become a millionaire. That starts on Sunday Morning Futures.
Yeah, no, electrician, honestly, guys. Yeah, electrician or plumber 100%. Like, your welder, yes. Like, guys, the skilled trades, I have so much respect for the skilled trades. Wait, what's Sean Hannity saying?
We'll get reaction, the one and only Jimmy Fallon, straight ahead.
Okay, I don't know what that's about. All right, let's go back to the Canadian commercials. Where was the commercial? Oh, here we go. All right. No, what is this? Canadian commercials. All right. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like a beer commercial.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And
yeah, sorry guys. So, well guys, yes guys, anyone who is in the skilled trades makes incredible money, and it's not talked about enough. So any sort of skilled trade, right? Like I don't know, elevator, repair, like whatever, electrician, welder, like it doesn't matter. If it's a skilled trade, you make insane amount of money, because it's one of those trades that like it's one of those careers that like can never be replaced with AI or anything like that, right? Yeah, any sort of like repair, maintenance, like just skilled trades in general. And I have a lot of respect for people who are in the skilled trades.
I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not about. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation.
Well, that's BS. I also believe in policing, but whatever. That's where the lefty Canada communism garbage comes in.
And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat. A Chesterfield is a coach. And
I have a lot of toques, by the way, guys. I have a lot of toques.
is pronounced said. Diversity, not assimilation. And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat. A Chesterfield is a coach. And it is pronounced said.
It is
Not
said.
saying said. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Told you it's a beer commercial.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, Canada has a lot of a lot of like patriotic beer commercials. Okay.
Lift it, raise it, get a handle on it. Lift and cup of soup. Hold it, hug it, get a handle on it. Lift a cup of soup. 20 good soups to warm up with. Give one a hand, it'll give you a lift. Grab it, lift it, hoist it, raise it, get a handle on it. Lift a cup of soup.
Yeah, guys. Some of the commercials are lefty. I can't.
Soup time at Tim Hortons. So come on in for a super deal on our great selection of savory soups.
Oh man, guys, this is Tim Hortons before like all the immigrants took over Tim Hortons. Like this is back when Tim Hortons was good.
Enjoy one of our soups with a tea biscuit, small coffee, and a donut for just $2.99.
What? Oh my god! So like back in 1990, you could get like a whole soup, coffee, tea biscuit, and donut for $2.99. Guys, this would be like $20 today. This would be $20. This is like $20 today. Oh wait, Sean Hannity's back. Let's see what he's speaking. Is it anything relevant?
Common for Kamala Harris to ramble on about absolutely positively nothing. We like word salads, but this time at an awards dinner in California, she actually allegedly put someone to sleep, literally. In a hilarious video obtained by TMZ, you can see a saxophone player dozing off as Kamala spoke just a few feet away. Take a look.
I don't think so, because if you thought nobody was rallies for a thing, people would take to the streets if they tried to cancel elections. No, they have had an agenda that has been in place for decades. This is where, in politics, you know, we drop the ball in a variety of ways.
Here with reaction, the host of Fox News Saturday Night. By the way, you know, it's kind of like you go to church some Sundays. There's always, my father used to fall asleep in church because he'd work till 5 a.m. the night before, you know, in a restaurant. So he kind of had an excuse.
Yeah.
I don't know what excuse that guy has.
Well,
except it's Kamala.
Yeah, well, the difference between Kamala in church is that she has the wine before the mass. Okay. At church, you got to wait till the end of church. Kamala's mass, look at this poor guy. Sean, you know what I realized, man? Our entire channel might owe Joe Biden an apology. He might not have been sleepy. He might just have been bored. Like this guy. That whole time we thought Biden was out of it. This man is sleeping with a heavy saxophone on his knee. Do you know how bored you have to be to pass out with a saxophone in your lap?
You really can't make that up. All right, moving on this Friday night. We talked a lot on this program about robots, how quickly they are advancing. I mean, the fastest person in a half marathon is a robot. Anyway, it seems like every day there's something new. Get this. One humanoid robot now able to ice skate rollerblade while keeping its posture steady and can even do spins and flips without any hesitation. And, well, if that doesn't do it for you, take a look
You
at
realize this is like basically
Japan
like
Airlines
the
is
next
now set to
generation of
introduce
warfare, right?
robotic baggage
It's gonna be the robot
handlers
wars
at
of the
Tokyo's
future.
airport as a way to combat the country's chronic labor shortage. And last but not least, a Norway-funded robotics
Yeah, no. It's not about the chronic labor shortage, guys. This is going to be the next level of warfare. It's going to be like robot, like Terminators. It's going to be Terminators.
First year, and 100,000 by the end of 2027. The robot currently available for pre-order for a whopping 20 grand. And it'll be able to help with tasks like folding laundry.
Guys, like, what is this? Like, what are they going to create? Skynet Global Defense Network next time? They're going to create Skynet Global Defense Network.
Robot.
Are we living in the
maybe
Terminator?
like Nurse Ratched. I don't know.
Well, I like that idea from one standpoint. Because right now, if you get old and you have nobody to take care of you, they send you to a No Kings protest. You know,
what happens when the robots
with no family and no kids are just made to march and hold a sign? Somebody gave.
I've seen a Chinese robot.
But I think this is nuts. I mean, we all keep saying the
robot
same thing.
revolution.
Like, this is the beginning of every bad sci-fi movie where they're like, "We've got these great robots. What can go wrong? Everything." Can I just make one point, man? Because they're trying, as you know, they keep testing these Waymo taxis, and they have them in Frisco and LA and Vegas, and now they're having them in New York. Waymo will never replace a human driver. You want to know why? Because if you get into a taxi at 3 in the morning and you're looking for a little action, Waymo doesn't know where to take you. I do. Okay? if you're looking for a 3 a.m. dice game, Waymo has no idea, but your Uncle Jimmy
Those
does.
years, you were driving a taxi, guys at 3 in the morning would say, "Take me here. Do you know where I can go?" They would ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to talk about the time I met Eric Swalwell, but yeah, here we are. Ken, look at that. Jimmy's got jokes. But yeah, see what happened. It's crazy, right?
Oh, that's crazy. All right, time for our viral video of the day. It shows the wild, terrifying moment. Riders at Six Flags in Texas were stuck nearly 200 feet in the air after the swing ride was stopped last weekend. According to reports, an operator stopped the ride because a passenger was seen pulling out their cell phone. That violates park policy. Six Flags told Fox News Digital that the incident lasted around 7 minutes. All the guests safely exited once the issue was resolved. If that doesn't make your heart race, this might. Take a look. Riders on the Superman roller coaster at Six Flags, New England, were forced to evacuate down a steep, elevated section of the track after the ride malfunctioned. According to Six Flags, in a statement obtained by a local outlet, trained employees were in constant communication with the riders and got them all off safely. Why does that not make me feel better?
I'm right there with you. What this actually looks like is the ride operator was the guy with the saxophone. This was Sax Flags. The ride operator heard the same Kamala speech, and he friggin' passed out. Come on, what is going on here? Listen, I saw the video. I didn't know it was in San Antonio. Folks, lay off the amusement park. Come see me in San Antonio August 15th. You will not get stuck on the ride, and I don't care if you pull out your phone. Come see Jimmy in San Antonio.
All right, Jimmy Fallon. We'll be watching tomorrow night. You're the best. All right, coming up, more Hannity straight out.
Okay, let's go back to the Canadian commercials. Wait. Okay, so we just finished the Tim Hortons commercial. $3 for an entire meal that today would cost like $30.
Enjoy one of our soups with a tea biscuit, small coffee, and a donut for just $2.99.
Yeah, guys, just like the donut today is like $5.
Soup's on $2.99.
This is a triangle. Oh, pizza.
You know, you can get any size pizza with all the toppings you want for just $9.99.
Even extra large?
Yeah, $9.99 gets you any size pizza with any toppings and a bonus Blockbuster video rental absolutely free.
That's like getting any size pizza for $6. Right now, any size pizza with all the toppings you want is just $9.99. With a free Blockbuster video rental, it's like getting any size pizza for just $6.
2, 9, 6, 7, 11, 11.
Call pizza. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah.
La poutine, c'est une légende qui est née ici à Warwick. Je m'en souviens, j'étais là.
Ah, pop. Sans sauce de Drummond, là, il n'y en aurait pas de poutine.
3 minutes. La poutine, elle vient du coin de Victo à cause de notre fromage qui fait...
Warwick, Drummond, Victo. Mais d'où vient-elle vraiment? Et surtout, d'où vient son nom?
Mon grand-père a dit un jour, put in the cheese on the fries. Put in. Poutine!
Hey, voyons donc! Elle remonte à bien plus loin que ça.
Peu importe son origine, une grande légende mérite un grand...
It's also fitting that the Poutine commercial is in French, obviously. Yeah. We also have Poutine. I don't know if you guys have Burger King, but like Burger King and Harvey's, I think like there's also Poutine there as well. Yeah, 2021. We still have like Poutine. Oh yeah, we have Poutine.
8 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah, like if you go to like McDonald's. Yeah. Yeah, guys. That's a thing. That's a thing. See, McDonald's Canada has Poutine. Yeah. It's a Canadian thing. It's not a Louisiana. Louisiana stole it from us Canadians. Yeah, you come to Canada, you can get Poutine. All right, let's continue.
$8 a.m. Monday morning. I had to find out what makes Mr. Transmission's nationwide warranty so good. A woman from out of town presented her nationwide warranty hesitantly.
Yeah, okay, guys. Bacon and cheese fries, that's not the same thing as Poutine because Poutine has like the specific cheese curds. You can't have just like regular cheese. You have to have cheese curds.
Mr. Transmission service manager said, no problem. 9:30 a.m. With only a minor adjustment, the job was done, and at no cost to her. My conclusion, you can rely on the Mr. Transmission nationwide warranty. That's why people are saying,
Hey, Mr. Transmission. Hey, Mr. You're a friend of mine.
Wait, let's see what Sean Hannity's talking about. Is it...
we did drop 2 new episodes this week, one with Dan Bongino.
Okay, no. Sean Hannity's pretty much done. Okay, guys, so Sean Hannity's done. I'll just share a few more Canadian commercials, and then we'll go back to the Iran documentary. So yeah, these are Canadian commercials. Oh, what's this one?
When you put your name to something, it can mean many things. A commitment, ownership, accountability. For the over 17,000 men and women of Canadian Airlines who have invested their own money, signing on as shareholders, it means all of those things. For those travelers who will walk the wing to Canadian, it means you will continue to have a choice of airlines. And it means you'll notice a difference. Because if your good name were riding on something, wouldn't you do what it takes to make a difference?
There you go. Okay, guys, people who are trying to figure out what poutine is. So poutine, it is a beloved Canadian dish originating from Quebec in the 1950s, consisting of crispy French fries topped with fresh cheese curds and hot, savory gravy. It's not a thing that I can eat all the time. Like I basically like I can probably have it like I don't know 2 or 3 times a year maybe. Because it's very rich. But it's really good. It's really good. So yeah, poutine. Amazing, amazing stuff. All right, let me share some other classic Canadian commercials with you guys. Because obviously Canadian commercials are way better than American commercials. So this is a Canadian commercial from my childhood. And for Canadians who are around my age, who are watching the live stream right now, or who are watching the replay, please feel free to sing along because I know you know the lyrics. I know you know the lyrics because this song is ingrained in our in our memories from childhood.
Why do you think your mommy or daddy are always telling you, don't put that in your mouth? Let's find out.
Hi, kids. Why are we on television anyway? We're here to tell a little story about why you shouldn't put things into your mouth when you don't know what they are, and why you should never take anything a stranger tries to give you.
Why not?
Because if you ate somebody else's medicine, some bad food, or some poison, you could get very sick.
Ugh, I don't want to be sick.
And that's why before you eat anything, you should always ask someone you love if it's okay.
Okay, I love you. Can I eat the guitar?
No,
Oh.
but you can help me sing a song about eating things that don't belong inside you.
Okay, I wasn't really hungry anyway. Well, wait, maybe a little bit.
Okay, everybody, if you see something that you want to eat, before you do anything, remember this song.
Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth.
Don't you stuff it in your face.
Don't stuff it in your face.
Though it might look good to eat.
Though it might look good to eat.
And it might look good to taste.
And it might look good to taste.
You could get sick. Ick. Real quick. Ick. Real sick. Real ick.
Don't you put it in your mouth. Till you ask someone you love.
That's right, sis.
If it's okay to eat.
If it's okay to eat.
Like a muffin or a beet.
Like a muffin or a beet.
If you don't know just what it is,
Remember, boys and girls.
don't put it in your mouth.
Hey, what am I doing? I don't even like beets.
Then don't put it in your mouth. Bye-bye, everyone.
Remember, boys and girls, never take anything from a stranger and don't put things in your mouth when you don't know what they are. If you eat somebody else's medicine or some bad food or some poison, you could get very sick.
Yeah!
Always ask someone you love before you put anything in your mouth.
There you go. So, yeah, one of the commercials from my childhood, and yeah, so they actually like I remember like they would play that in school, right? So they would play that in like our schools. I mean, it was a good PSA. It was a good PSA. It's just looking at it now, I'm like, okay, but it was a good PSA. Here's another one. More Canadian commercials.
It's nighttime in a kitchen just like yours. All is quiet. Or is it? The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States. House hippos are very timid creatures and are rarely seen, but they will defend their territory if provoked. They come out at night to search for food, water, and materials for their nests. The favorite foods of the house hippo are chips, raisins, and the crumbs from peanut butter on toast. They build their nests in bedroom closets, using lost mittens, dryer lint, and bits of string. The nests have to be very soft and warm. House hippos sleep about 16 hours a day.
That looked really real, but you knew it couldn't be true, didn't you? That's why it's good to think about what you're watching on TV and ask questions, kind of like you just did. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
There you go. So, yeah. And here's another one.
So, toast is burning.
Toast is not.
Every time she has a seizure, she smells something burning. Now, if we can provoke that smell by probing the surface of the brain, we'll find the source of the seizures. Mrs. Gold, do you feel anything?
I can see the most wonderful lights.
And now what do you feel?
Did you pour cold water on my hand, Dr. Penfield?
Now what? What is it, Mrs. Gold?
Burnt toast. Dr. Penfield, I can smell burnt toast. Dr. Wilder Penfield. He cured my seizures and hundreds more. They say he drew the roadmap of the human brain. We just called him the greatest Canadian alive.
There you go. So there are some Canadian commercials. So yeah, American commercials are super weird to me. But Canadian commercials make sense.
Canadian, please.
Here's another one. Here's another one.
Canadian, please. Ooh, Mr. Canadian. Mr. Canuck. Where's your pet beaver? Right here. Attack.
I am Canadian.
Yeah, there are a lot of beer commercials where like Canadians are like making fun of America. It's like Americans are making fun of the Canadians, and then the Canadians just like, here you go.
Canadian, please.
So like those guys are like supposed to be American, right? So the Americans are making fun of the Canadian.
Ooh, Mr. Canadian. Mr. Canuck. Where's your pet beaver? Right here. Attack.
I am Canadian.
Okay, one more, and then we'll go back to the documentary. Okay.
So I hear you're from Canada.
Yeah.
How's it going, eh? Do you want a donut? I thought all they had up in Canada were lumberjacks and curlers. Is there running water up there? Where's your tube, gay? New dude beauty.
I am Canadian.
Yeah, there were a lot of those. No dude about it. Yeah, so to all you guys, all you Americans in the comments, you're like, no dude about it. There you go. Kind of funny. Moosehead commercials. Oh wait, so let me just okay, I'll get to all the super chats, but they advertise no. So it's not, we're not like we're not advertising lobotomies. No, we're not advertising lobotomies. It's basically it's just like it's a Canadian heritage moment commercial. So there's a lot of like Canadian heritage moments. So that was basically like showing how like a Canadian discovered like, I don't know, whatever needed to be discovered for like medical sciences, right? So it's a very famous commercial. So I think there's another one for like penicillin. There's another one for like Terry Fox. So yeah, they're not advertising lobotomies. They're advertising Canadian scientific breakthroughs, right? So Canadian heritage moment. So it was a Canadian that did that. Okay, a Moosehead commercial. What? I mean. Here, I mean, I could. I mean, if you just want like, I don't know. I don't want to do like too many beer. Okay. Let me see. I'm not really into the beer commercials too much, but you know what? I'll save the commercials for later because I do want to go back to the documentary that we were watching, and I'm still keeping an eye on the news. So, all right. So we'll go back to the documentary about Iran. And I'll go back a little bit. So where we left off before we tuned in, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a beer drinker. I don't know. I'm not a beer drinker. I mean, if I'm in Europe, I'll have a beer here and there, but not really my thing. Okay, so going back to Iran, so the documentary. So this is a tribal person from the province of Baluchistan. He's not, remember guys, he's not a Durka. I'll tell you if a Durka shows up, but remember that a lot of the cultural attire of various Iranians, a lot of it pre-Islamic, was appropriated by the Durkas, right? So he is wearing a different type of turban here, and you can actually like for those of us who are familiar with how people dress, we can tell the difference. So for example, I mean, I have to bring up Hannity, but just as like an example, right? So his picture is so nasty. Okay. I'm only doing this for scientific purposes. So you see his turban is a different shape than the villager. Okay, so even though they both have wraps around their head, different shape, different style. So this is a Durka. This is a Durka turban, right? This is a regular normal head wrap, which is pre-Islamic, by the way. It's pre-Islamic. So yeah. And like I was saying, my grandfather, so my father's father, he actually wore a turban in sort of like a similar style as well, because it was like a traditional cultural thing. It wasn't like a Durka thing. So this is like a rural tribal tribesman from like the Baluch area. And basically I'll go back a little bit, but he's talking about how the Shah industrialized and modernized the area. And then at this part, when he turns to this part, what he's saying is, if the outsiders, so now he's actually speaking about the separatists, right? So he's saying, if the separatists even stole one stone from our land, which is Iran, right? So he's like, if the separatists even tried to steal one rock, there's 200 of us willing to put our lives on the line. Yeah, absolutely, 100%, right? So Indians, yep, Sikhs, yep, they wear turbans as well. So exactly. So turban is not necessarily a Durka thing. It's just this one. That one. That one's the Durka, which is cultural appropriation, because they basically steal everything. They have like nothing for themselves. So this is like a rural tribesman. Anyways, let's go back a little bit. We'll just go back to this part here.
Recalls the life of 25 years ago.
25 years ago, if a vehicle passed through this area, the people in the vehicle would have been done for to begin with. Then 100 or so local people would have been killed as well. Why? Because in those days the roads were unsafe. There were no schools. There were no gendarmerie posts. There were none of these wells or other developments.
Right, so so he's saying back in the day there were no schools, there were no roads, there were no wells, there were none of this, right? The roads weren't safe. Basically what he's implying is that today this is like, filmed in 1976, 1977. So basically what he's implying is that the Shah of Iran came to the Baluchistan province and was industrializing the province. He was building schools, he was building wells, he was like building roads, he was improving life for the people of Baluchistan. By the way, Baluchistan is a province, right? We're speaking about the province of Baluchistan. We're not speaking about the Pakistani separatists. And then he's actually, so when he picks up the stone and he says, we are prepared to put our lives on the line to protect this rock, he's speaking about the Pakistani separatists as well, right? And so like this idiot that's now in the chat and saying free Baluchistan, like you can just go like go to hell where you belong because you're an idiot, because obviously you don't want to understand what's happening here, because these are the Baluch people of Iran who are saying that they are going to, they will put their lives on the line for this one rock right here. Just listen.
The people spent most of
Back then, yes. So actually, yes, under the Pahlavi dynasty back in 1925, they made education mandatory for both girls and boys. Prior to 1925, before the Pahlavi dynasty, Islam was basically in power under the Qajar dynasty, and girls did not go to school. However, when the Pahlavi dynasty took over in 1925, not only did they begin a very aggressive campaign of building schools across the region, but they basically raised the age of marriage to 18. So basically, they made it illegal for girls under the age of 18 to get married. Plus, they also made it mandatory for both girls and boys to go to school. So yes, back in this time, by 1977, education was mandatory for girls and boys up until the age of 18. Yeah. Guys, don't make fun of his appearance. Don't make fun of his appearance because he's a rural member. Guys, I could easily bring up some American hillbillies and we can make fun of their appearance too. So let's not make fun of appearance of rural people. Guys, if we want to make fun of the appearance of rural people, I will bring up Larry, Jim, Bob, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. So
their lives fighting. There is a place near here, 18 miles away, called the cemetery. There are still the graves there of almost 70 Englishmen who were killed as they passed. Our people are buried there too, in 4s and 6s. The cause of the killing in the cemetery I told you about was our own territory, our land and water. If a foreigner tried to take away a single stone from our territory...
So here he's saying if a foreigner tries to take a single stone from our territory, we'll put our lives on the line for him. For our country.
We were ready to lose.
So when he says a foreigner, he's speaking about the Pakistani separatists.
If a foreigner tried to take away a single stone from our territory, we were ready to lose 200 lives to defend it. That was why the killing at the cemetery happened. If there was water, we would last without bread for 30 days. We would eat raw meat, camel meat, mutton.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Even this guy is deport illegal aliens. Yeah, right? Because you don't want illegal aliens in your country, guys. Deport illegal aliens.
Beef, even with no salt or fire.
Yeah,
we would roast it in the sun. If we put a piece of meat on the rock this morning, it would be cooked by now. We could fight an enemy for 30 days on that.
Did many of his friends used to die because they were hungry, or the children, did they die?
Yes, yes. In those days, there were no doctors or hygiene care for children. No doctor came this way. The people just died.
Our life before, about 10 years ago, we...
So FYI, the blonde hair, that's not like a bug or something. There are, a vast majority of Iranians have pale skin, light eyes, and blonde hair. Yeah. Guys, we Iranians, we come in all different like colors and, you know, shapes and things like that.
Could hardly live at all. The Baluchis and the gendarmes were the worst of all. If we saw a soldier, we used to run away and hide. But for the last 10 years or so, so far as I can remember, as a result of the will of God and the grace of His Majesty, we have lived in much more comfort.
So when she says the grace of His Majesty, she's referring to the Shah of Iran, Shahanshah Aryamer. So what she's saying is that in the last 10 years, the Shah of Iran has really modernized, you know, the province and working towards, you know, building infrastructure and things like that.
10 years or so, so far as I can remember, as a result of the will of God and the grace of His Majesty, we have lived in much more comfort. Even if we have nothing else, we have security.
Did they have enough to eat 10 and 15 years ago? And what did they eat?
Food? In those days, we ate dates. They were brought from Giroft. Every 3 or 4 days, we had flour made of millet or barley. We ate them with animal grasses.
Did some of their people used to die?
Okay, that's it's not animal grass. She said sabzi. So sabzi is basically just herbs. So guys, if you don't know, we Iranians, we love herbs. This, like, I'm not exaggerating. So, oh my gosh, I'm just like seeing a picture of like herbs right now, and like my mouth is watering. So, yeah. So one of the things that you probably don't know about us Iranians when it comes to our food is that we love fresh herbs. We love mint, parsley, you know, chives, oregano, onion, radish, rosemary, thyme. Like, we basically, no, not kale. Kale's not really an herb. Kale is more like lettuce. I'm talking about herbs, right? So, you know how like you know, you guys use herbs as like a garnish. We eat herbs on the side with our food like goats. Like literally we'll have like a spoonful of whatever it is we're eating, and then we just like grab a bunch of herbs and we just like, you know, shove it in our mouths and we just, you know, eat herbs. So that's what she means. She's not talking about animal grass. I don't know what that translation was, probably because the people who were making that documentary didn't understand what she's referring to, because sabzi, yeah. So oh my god, there's like a whole article about it. Okay, so it's sabzi khordan, which basically means eating herbs. Oh yeah, no, there's also torshi. Torshi is just like pickled vegetables. Yeah. But sabzi khordan is a common side dish in Iranian, Armenian, Azerbaijani, and Kurdish cuisines, which may be served with any meal consisting of any combination of a set of fresh herbs and raw vegetables. Although for Iranians, we usually just stick to like radish and onion. You know, and then we have basil. Oh my gosh, purple basil. Oh my gosh. Purple basil is the best. I miss purple basil. Oh my gosh. Mint, parsley, tarragon, coriander, leek, and radishes are amongst the most common ones. Oh my gosh, ریحون بنفش. ببین الان حواست ریحون بنفش کردم. Oh my gosh, دهنم افتاد. ریحون بنفش. Anyway, so that's what she's talking about here. It's not like it's not animal grass. Oh, okay, so you have that gene then, right? Because for some people, like, there's a certain like gene or something, right? Where for some people cilantro tastes like soap. So I feel bad for you, because I don't have like I have the good gene, and for me cilantro tastes like delicious. So yeah, purple basil. Oh my gosh, purple basil is so good. Oh my gosh, like purple basil is one of the best herbs. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Look at this, guys. Voi, dahana babuftad. Look at this. Purple basil. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. So, yeah. So basically, one of the things you might not know about us Iranians is that when we are eating our meals, we love to have like a big thing of like fresh herbs beside us. And yeah, so basically, like you just, you have a spoonful or a bite of whatever it is that you're eating, whatever your meal is. And then you just grab a bunch of fresh herbs and you put it in your mouth and you eat fresh herbs like a goat. And it's just like, it's amazing. So good. So good. All right, let's continue. So yeah, it's not animal grass. That was an improper translation. تره به انگلیسی چی میشه؟ نمیدونم تره. I think تره is like chives maybe. You might تره رو بذار توی I guess Google Translate and see what it is.
We had flour made of millet or barley. We ate them with animal grasses.
Yeah, we didn't eat them with animal grasses. We ate them with sabzi. So you'll hear her say sabzi.
Made of millet or barley. We ate them with animal grasses.
See, sabzia. She says sabzia.
We ate them with animal grasses.
Did some of their people used to die because they didn't have enough food in those bad old days?
So now they're talking about the malnutrition. Wild green onions? No. It's just like green onions. You guys know green onions. These are green onions. Wait. Right? Like green onions, right? Just like green onions. And yeah, so this is like basically the side dish of herbs that we'll have with our meals, right? You got like the radish, the green onion, different kinds of herbs, mint, basil, whatever. Yeah. So good. It's just like, so like the garnish that you guys put on your meals? Yeah, we don't see that as garnish. We see that as like the side dish, which is really good.
Yes, girls and boys of 2 or 3 were fed on those grasses. One saw water coming out of their mouths and they died.
There can be few occasions in all of history when the inheritors of an ancient civilization were so thoroughly humiliated by wave after wave of invading forces. Each occupying power left its mark, a scar. But one thing the Persians never surrendered was their pride in what had been achieved in times past. The man who was to begin the process of renewal was born here in 1878, the village of Elasht in the mountains which slope down to Iran's border with Russia.
I've only tried camel meat one time, and so someone is saying I've heard camel meat is amazing. We don't eat camel in Iran. That's not a thing. At least not that I've heard. I've never heard of anyone eat camel. The only time that I've tried camel was actually when I was a politician, and there was like a hunter's ball. So all of like the rural hunters in Ontario, they basically get together like once a year and they host like this potluck, and they make meals with like the game that they've hunted. So I think someone made like, I don't know, camel sausage or something. So like I tried a bite of camel meat one time, but that was literally in like Ontario. Like I've never had camel meat in Iran. I don't know. Maybe some people eat camel meat, but I've never heard of that.
At the time of his birth here, the Russians and the British, though rivals, were well on their way to establishing complete control of Iran's economy and politics. The man from this village who was to challenge the big powers was illiterate. His name was Reza Khan.
So guys, this is the grandfather of the current Shah, right? So you know Reza Pahlavi, I share his videos with you all the time, his videos and messages on Iran Revolution Live, right? This is his grandfather. So he is the founder of the Pahlavi dynasty, and he is the one that began the process of modernizing Iran back when he became the Shah in 1925. And we call him Reza Shah the Great, and we love him.
From this village who was to challenge the big powers was illiterate. His name was Reza Khan. Reza Khan refused to tolerate fools and liars.
Yes, and guys, I love him so much. So he was so good. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Challenge the big powers was illiterate. His name was Reza Khan. Reza Khan refused to tolerate fools and liars. When in later years high officials sought to influence him by flattery, he would explode with anger. "Don't be a bloody fool," he would say. "I'm the son of a peasant." The spark which...
And that's why we love him, and that's why we love the Pahlavi dynasty, because look, he was like, don't be a fool, I'm the son of a peasant, right? He's like, you can't flatter me, right? He's basically like, I'm one of the common people. And I've already, I've explained in previous documentaries how he became the Shah, but the fact that, he came from humble beginnings and became the Shah, that's why we love the Pahlavi dynasty, because they're literally like, they're one of us, right? They're one of us, and they're like a new dynasty, and we call them the Iran building dynasty. Oh, let's listen to that again.
Khan refused to tolerate fools and liars. When in later years high officials sought to influence him by flattery, he would explode with anger. "Don't be a bloody fool," he would say. "I'm the son of a peasant." The spark which set ablaze the smouldering fire of Iranian nationalism was Britain's decision in 1919 to convert Iran into a vassal state. Reza Khan led Iran's nationalists in a successful coup against the government of Ahmed Shah, the last of the Qajar kings.
Okay, so again, that's not entirely accurate, guys. So what happened is Reza Khan didn't actually lead a successful coup. What happened is that the communists, right, the Marxists had taken over, and Reza Khan went with the Cossack Brigade. He overthrew the communists. He reclaimed Tehran, basically saved Tehran, and then he reinstated the young Shah. So they make it seem as if he went for like a military coup and took over. That's not what happened. The communists already had done the coup, so he went and he undid the coup. Unfortunately, this historical revisionism is just ugh.
They'd had enough of Ahmed Shah's continuing capitulation to foreigners. In 1926, Reza Khan was proclaimed Shah and became the first king of the Pahlavi dynasty.
Yeah, what they fail to mention is that he became the Shah when the democratically elected parliament of Iran, which is the Majlis, voted out the previous Qajar dynasty because they were very corrupt and they were subservient to Russia, or the USSR at the time, or Russia, whatever, and the UK. So they didn't want that. So it was the democratically elected parliament of Iran in 1925 that invoked their constitutional authority to get rid of the previous dynasty and vote in the current Pahlavi dynasty. So it's not like he just went there, did a coup, and took over. No, that counter coup, the counter coup happened in 1921, but he didn't become the Shah until 1925.
In 1926, Reza Khan was proclaimed Shah and became the first king of the Pahlavi.
Didn't even get the date right. He didn't become Shah in 1926. He became Shah in 1925. Oh my gosh.
In 1926, Reza Khan was proclaimed Shah and became the first king of the Pahlavi dynasty. But it was an event which nearly didn't happen. Reza Khan wanted Iran to become a republic with himself as president.
That's true. Wait, guys, I think that was baby Shahanshah, guys. Is this baby Shahanshah Aryame? Bacha Shahanshah hai. That's the baby Shahanshah. Okay. Okay, guys, but listen to this part. How many wives? He had one wife. He had one wife because he wasn't like a jihadi Islamist. Okay, but listen to this. Do you see how, like, do you see this part? Like, this part of history is never told because Shahanshah, or sorry, Reza Shah the Great, he didn't even want to become Shah. He back in the day wanted a republic like Turkey, right? Because he wanted to follow in the footsteps of Ataturk. So he was like, no, let's make Iran a republic. You know, I'll run for office. I'll become president. And then everyone was like, no. Iran has always been like a constitutional monarchy. Iran has always had a Shah. So we're going to vote you in as the Shah and you're going to establish a new dynasty. Listen to this.
Reza Khan wanted Iran to become a republic with himself as president. He was eventually persuaded that Iran's traditions demanded a restoration of the monarchy.
The documentary here. I'll put the documentary in the link in the chat. Like usually I'll just add the documentary in the video description after because everyone always asks me constantly and it just really distracts me and it ruins like the experience. But there's a documentary link. I'll put it in the video description when I'm done the live stream.
Restored Iran. Reza Khan wanted Iran to become a republic with himself as president. He was eventually persuaded that Iran's traditions demanded a restoration of the monarchy. Reza Shah's strong brand of nationalism was not merely the product of his mistrust of foreigners. His driving force was his faith in the capacity of his people to make Iran a great nation again. His first showdown with the bullying big powers came in 1931. Even then, the subject of confrontation was oil. For hundreds of years, some Iranian peasants had been using the stuff to make fuel cakes for their fires. In 1901, the Qajar king awarded to an Australian prospector the exclusive exploration and exploitation rights throughout Iran for a period of 60 years. This key to Iran's future was virtually given away. By the time of the foreigners' first discovery of oil in commercial quantities in 1908, the Anglo-Persian Oil Company had been formed in London to take over the original concession. When the company refused to improve the terms of the concession, Reza Shah cancelled the contract. The dispute went to the League of Nations, and Reza Shah won. But his victory led to increasing bitterness between Britain and Iran, which eventually cost Reza Shah his throne.
Yeah, we won't forget that, unfortunately.
The creation of a communications network of roads and railways opened the way to development, progress, and change. Under Reza Shah, the country was opened up. Law and order was restored.
Guys, like we still drive on those roads. Like I've actually driven in Jadeh Shomal Mage Nist. فکر کنم این جاده شماله. Like, I think that's جاده شمال. I mean, that reminds me of like جاده شمال. Because I've driven, like I've gone on like جاده شمال. So is that
his
جاده
throat.
شمال?
The creation of a communications network of roads.
درست گفتم. Guys, so I've driven down this. This is one of the most famous roads. This is one of the most famous highways in Iran. We call it the North Road, Jadeh Shomal, which means Shomal means north, and Jadeh means like road. So this is like this is the highway that Reza Shah the Great built in the 1920s to connect Tehran to the northern part of Iran. And he built it like, you know, through the mountainsides and like made all these like tunnels and stuff. So it's like a beautiful, historic, scenic route. And yeah, I've actually been on this route on a road trip to northern Iran as a child.
Roads and railways opened the way to development, progress and change. Under Reza Shah, the country was opened up. Law and order was restored. Nationalism was wielded into a single territorial force. The foundation stones for nation building were laid. Iran was on the move again. When the Second World War began, Reza Shah declared his country neutral. At dawn on the 25th of August 1941, the Allies invaded. The Russians from the north, British and Indian forces from the west and the south. When the invasion plan was being discussed, Lord Wavell, the Viceroy of India, wrote to Churchill,
"It is essential that we should join hands with Russia through Iran. If the present government of Iran is not willing to facilitate this, it must be made to give way to one that will."
The war was going badly for the Allies. Hitler's forces had inflicted defeat on the Russians along a 1,000-mile front. So Iran became what Allied command called the bridge to victory because it was the safest route for supplies to Russia. Why the Allies resorted to invasion is still much debated. Reza Shah's refusal to be dictated to by the big powers was a major factor. But the records of both sides suggest that invasion wouldn't have been necessary if the Allies had been honest with Reza Shah and had taken him into their confidence. The British in particular were not prepared to do that. They were too prejudiced against the man who, before the war started, had signaled his intention to play a leading role in ushering in the twilight of the British Empire.
No offense to any British people watching, but yeah, this is at the height of, you know, colonialism, British colonialism, right? So yeah.
3 weeks after the invasion, broken and humiliated, Reza Shah abdicated. Crown Prince.
Well, not humiliated in our eyes because we love him and we call him Reza Shah the Great.
Prince Mohammad Reza, the present Shah, took over. Shah. 3 weeks after the invasion, broken and humiliated, Reza Shah abdicated. Crown Prince Mohammad Reza, the present Shah, took over. The old man was exiled. He died in South Africa in 1944. The loss felt by most Iranians at the moment of abdication was even more profound when Reza Shah's body was eventually returned to Iran for a state funeral. One said, "I felt as if the ground on which I stood had been taken from under me. The feeling of security given by knowing that Reza Shah was in his palace looking after his nation suddenly disappeared." Reza Shah's defeat and humiliation was the moment when many Iranians lost faith in the belief, inspired into them by their king, that they could once more be the masters of their own future. after the long journey home from South Africa, Reza Shah's body was laid to rest in Tehran.
What is your interpretation of the events which ended with your father's abdication? Do you think, perhaps with hindsight, that he might have been a bit stubborn and refused to compromise and to some extent brought the trouble on himself? Or do you think the Allies were determined to force him to go?
No, they were determined, no doubt. I was living every minute of those days.
So guys, this is Shahanshah Aryamer, the Emperor of Iran. He is the father of the current Shah, right? Reza Pahlavi II. This is his father, and then Reza Shah the Great is the grandfather.
Stubborn and refused to compromise and to some extent brought the trouble on himself? Or do you think the Allies were determined to force him to go?
No, they were determined, no doubt. I was living every minute of those days. And I remember we sending messages to the Western countries that what you want. We know that you are cooking up something. A reply never came. They wanted to get rid of somebody who was independent and who have eventually asked some price for the Allies to take advantage of all our lines of communication, our roads, our railroads. Do you know that during the war, 11 million tons of goods were transported through this country from the Western world to the Soviet Union? So they didn't want him to be around.
What was it, do you think, that they objected to, that he was beginning to make Iran independent, beginning to strike out for independence?
Sure. He was not one of those people who would have accepted a small messenger coming and transmitting messages that he had to obey or carry out. Not that I did. I also resisted in my way after I assumed
but in fact,
responsibilities.
When you took over, I think the Allies for a few days even refused to recognize your succession.
Yes, they did so. They knew little of me as a crown prince. I was rather outspoken in those days. And they thought, well, it will be the same story. Then, in order not to have the same burdens, they did their best, almost during the whole of the occupation of this country, to diminish the powers and the role of the sovereign in this country.
Your basic problem, I think, when you took over, and you were not quite 21 in those circumstances, was that there was almost nobody around you could trust. Even Iranian politicians were playing each other off against and with the foreign powers. That was a big problem, wasn't it?
It was. It was. And this is why I say almost a miracle saved us at the end of the war, like a miracle saved us at the end of the First World War. This is why I'm so determinedly set on having some deep-rooted organization, which will be the expression of the real people, not just the expression of a few rotten politicians.
From the moment the Crown Prince became Shah at the age of 21, he was engaged in a long and bitter struggle with corrupt and self-seeking politicians from the country's ruling elite. But the young Shah's first priority was to develop a new foreign policy. He was determined to be more flexible and pragmatic than his father, a strength which his enemies misinterpreted as a weakness. By the time of the Tehran Conference in November 1943, the young Shah had forged a working relationship with Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin. The British and the Russians had earlier promised to withdraw their forces from Iran within 6 months of the war's end. But Stalin continued the occupation and promoted a rebellion in the north. Eventually, the Shah refused to be intimidated by Stalin and sent his troops north to put down the rebellion. And with the
So guys, this right here, right? What Stalin did, that's pretty much, Stalin was trying to bring Iran under the Iron Curtain, right? So that was sort of the beginning of the Shah's battle with communism, and that's why he eventually banned communism, and that's why he eventually had 300 communist terror. Sorry, I think it was like 3,000 like communist terrorists in jail, right? Because ever since the time of Stalin, they were trying to bring Iran under the Iron Curtain. And a lot of the communist parties, communist infiltrators, like the leftists, the Marxists, whatever, they were all funded by the Soviets. So that right there, guys, that's like the beginning of the Shah's fight with communism.
Is from Iran within 6 months of the war's end. But Stalin continued the occupation and promoted a rebellion in the north. Eventually, the Shah refused to be intimidated by Stalin and sent his troops north to put...
Yeah, guys. So, guys, this is an excellent point by Push-Ups 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's also the origin of the communist Kurdish separatist groups. So the same Kurdish separatist groups today, President Trump gave them weapons that were supposed to go to the Iranian freedom fighters, but the Iraqi Kurdish separatists stole the weapons. Yeah. That's their origin. They were created and funded by Stalin and the communists. Boom, there you go. So all of these separatist movements in the Middle East created and funded by the Soviets. Guys, Yasser Arafat and the PLO also created, trained, and funded by the Soviets. The whole Palestinian cause is fake. Guys, the entire Palestinian cause is a Russian psyops. It's not even real. And yet so many people have fallen for this nonsense. Yep. Palestine is a Russian psyops as well. Literally, there's nothing real about Palestine.
Put down the rebellion, and with the help of international pressures, the Shah forced the Russians out. After this success for the Shah's new foreign policy, Iran's parliament met in a new mood of confidence.
Oh, did you catch that? Iran's parliament, right? So again, to everyone who claims that Iran was a dictatorship and Iran was an absolute monarchy, okay, how the heck can you have a parliament in a dictatorship or an absolute monarchy, right? Did you catch that? Iran's parliament.
After this success for the Shah's new foreign policy, Iran's parliament met in a new mood of confidence. But the removal of the direct Russian threat only intensified Iranian bitterness towards Britain. In the years of street demonstrations, mob violence, and assassinations which followed, the British, like the Russians, worked behind the scenes to exploit every dissident element for their own ends. The Communist Party, the Tudor, took the frontline role in demonstrations against the Shah.
So guys, the Tudeh party is the main communist party that was funded by the Soviets. Yeah.
For a time, British oil interests actively encouraged the communists. The violence of these years included the first attempt on the Shah's life.
Guys, these are the leftists. Yeah, they actually tried. Guys, so you know how the lefties and the communists are trying to assassinate President Trump and have tried to assassinate him at least 3 times? Yeah, the communists, leftists, and woke progressives, they also tried to assassinate our Shah. You see this? This was an assassination attempt on our Shah. So this woke, leftist, Antifa, communist, Marxist violence that you're seeing, it's not new. We've already experienced this. These are the woke left, guys. These are the communists. These are the these are the leftists, Antifa. So everything that you guys are experiencing right now in the United States, We've already lived through all of this. This is why I tried to I make videos about this stuff, right?
Mob violence and assassinations which followed.
Like, guys, this literally looks like a lefty movement in the United States, right? All the lefties coming out, right? So, the left in the United States suffers from TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Back in the 40s and 50s, they suffered from PDS, Pahlavi derangement syndrome. It's literally the exact same pattern. Even the assassination attempts.
Years of street demonstrations, mob violence and assassinations which followed, the British, like the Russians, worked behind the scenes to exploit every dissident element for their own ends. The Communist Party, the Tudor, took the frontline role in demonstrations against the Shah. For a time, British oil interests actively encouraged the Communists. The violence of these years included the first attempt on the Shah's life. Apart from the Communists, the Shah's enemies included ultra-conservative forces, amongst them religious fanatics and feudal landlords.
There you go, guys. There you go. There's the unholy alliance of the red and the black, right? What I've been telling you about, the communists and the Islamists, right? It's the exact same thing. So what you guys are experiencing right now, today, in the United States, in Canada, in all these Western, democratic countries, the unholy alliance of the red and the black, we've already been going through that.
Who were beginning to take fright at what the Shah might do to improve the lot of the peasants.
Oh, look,
look. Amongst them religious...
The jihadis did not like the fact that the Shah was modernizing Iran and he wanted the peasants to be free. Right? They call the Shah a dictator. What sort of dictator wants to free people and end feudalism? Right?
Fanatics and feudal landlords, who were beginning to take fright at what the Shah... Apart from the Communists, the Shah's enemies included ultra-conservative forces, amongst them religious fanatics and feudal landlords, who were beginning to take fright at what the Shah might do to improve the lot of the peasants.
Would you recall for us the events of the 4th of February 1949, which was in fact the first attempt to assassinate you at Tehran University?
As usual, every year I was going to distribute the diplomas and the first prizes to the students of Tehran University at the Faculty of Law. And all of a sudden, I hear shots and my face is projected to one side when I realized that I was being shot at. And he had shot 3 bullets through my hat, 1 through my cheek, but the bullet came out just through the nose without hurting anything, any nerves, any teeth. 1 was destined for the heart, but at this fraction of, or even less than a fraction of a second, I was just making a gesture, a turn of the body. So I got it in my left elbow.
Guys, that's exactly what happened to President Trump. Doesn't that sound familiar? Where at the last minute, he made a sudden move or turn, and that's, how the bullet, instead of killing him, the bullet just injured him? Does that sound like anyone you know? Yeah? I'm telling you guys, we Iranians, we've lived through this. We've experienced all of this already. It's crazy. Do you see the similarities? It's crazy.
Teeth. 1 was destined for the heart, but at this fraction of even...
Oh, and I see all the super chats. Okay, maybe I'll just go to the super chats really quickly. So push-ups, FY, wrote a short article about one of your videos. Check it out after the show. DM'd it to you on X. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Garlic Toast Life became a new member. Thank you. Oh, we already did the lobotomy comment. That's the origin of... Yeah, we spoke about that. Tom for Life. The Shah was totally disrespected by FDR at the 1943 conference too. I'm reading a new book called King of Kings by Scott Anderson, and it's great. Yeah, that's what we call our Shah. We call him Shahanshah, which means King of Kings. And what that refers to is basically the king of the Iranian people, because the whole concept of kings and monarchy is really ingrained into our culture and our civilization. That when we say Shahanshah, it's basically like respecting ourselves by saying, like it's, it's basically saying like every Iranian is a king, and then the Shah is a king of kings, right? So it's just like basically like honoring ourselves and saying that, we as a civilization are worthy people. So that's why we call him Shahanshah. Push-ups, yeah. Nonsense, Goldie. We all know Iranian history starts with Mossadegh. Well, yeah, no, I get the sarcasm. Honestly, it's so frustrating. You're absolutely right. Like, a lot of people just think that like Iran didn't exist before 1953. Obviously it's not true, but yeah, it's like the amount of Iran splaining is absolutely insane. Eric Cal says, "You're so smart." Thank you. I appreciate that. Kind of you to say. Captain Kush 420, divine intervention. Yeah, I think it was divine intervention for both President Trump and, of course, Shahanshah Aryameh as well. Large Capital Gaming, loves you, girl. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I hope you're enjoying the documentary watch party. Oh, wait, you thought he was serious? No, he was no, he was being sarcastic. He was being sarcastic. All right, let's continue.
Less than a fraction nose without hurting anything, any nerves, any teeth. One was destined for the heart, but at this fraction of, or even less than a fraction of a second, I was just making a gesture, a turn of the body. So I got it in my left elbow on the back. The man was killed because he was trying to escape. But then we found out that he was frequenting a man who had connections with the rightist fanatic clergymen, but he had communistic pamphlets and literature in his house, and his girlfriend was the daughter of the gardener of the British Embassy. I can't say for sure what he was, but anyway, this is what we found out.
For the next 4 years, the Shah became a prisoner of events. The man who controlled those events was Iran's prime minister of the period, Dr. Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh became the popular hero of Iran because he told the people what they most wanted to hear. The arrogant foreigners could be humbled and made to pay much more for Iran's oil. Abadan became one of the best-known datelines as the oil crisis developed. When Britain refused to pay a penny more for oil, Iran nationalized. The British replied with an economic and diplomatic offensive aimed at the economic strangulation of Iran.
Yeah, guys, this is true. Like, Mossadegh was like a huge opium addict. Like, the guy was just high all the time. Like, Mossadegh, basically, he's like Nosferatu. He's like the Nosferatu.
When Mossadegh couldn't deliver what he'd promised, he denounced the need for a settlement and plunged Iran further along the road to bankruptcy.
Oh, guys, who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Guys, can you name a communist Marxist politician in America right now who, delivered, like, promised that they would, like, I don't know, give, like, free things and then they couldn't deliver? Who does he sound like? Who does he remind you of? Yes. Yep. 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 Exactly. They come with all these promises of, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as they, come into power, they mess it up and then they basically try to take control. Yeah.
When Mossadegh couldn't deliver what he'd promised, he denounced the need for a settlement and plunged Iran further along the road to bankruptcy. The explosive anti-British mood continued to support Mossadegh's policy of no compromise, which the Shah opposed. But when Mossadegh showed his intention to eliminate the Pahlavi dynasty, he overplayed his hand. His broad-based support began to evaporate. At the final showdown in August 1953, his support was coming mainly from the communists. He had become their prisoner.
Obviously, the communists were 100% behind him because they knew that they could topple him in no time. In matter of fact, when he was thrown out by the revolution of the people, and when we occupied the two-day headquarters and from some of the offices belonging to the party, we found out that they planned to overthrow him 2 weeks after my departure.
So if he had beaten you,
he would have been overthrown 2 weeks later.
Someone is asking, so this is the coup by the commies in 1953. Shah and the USA were trying to stop it. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it. So here in this documentary, you're seeing the truth. You're seeing what actually happened, right? Whereas the far left and the communists and the Islamists, right? The narrative that they put out is that Iran was a democracy under Mossadegh, and then, the USA installed the Shah, which is like total and utter nonsense because, as you can see, the Shah of Iran, he ascended the throne in 1941, right? So this weird narrative that the Islamists and communists have been putting out for the last 40, 50 years, mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. But yeah, this is exactly what happened. So Mossadegh and the communists tried to they're the ones that instigated the coup because they wanted to turn Iran into a communist hellhole, and they failed. Yeah. So let's go back. So this is the truth about 1953. This is actually a very good explanation. This is probably the best explanation of the 1953 coup that I've seen so far. And by 1953 coup, I mean Mossadegh's coup.
Abadan became one of the best-known datelines as the oil crisis developed. When Britain refused to pay a penny more for oil, Iran nationalized. The British replied with an economic and diplomatic offensive aimed at the economic strangulation of Iran. When Mossadegh couldn't deliver what he'd promised, he denounced the need for a settlement and plunged Iran further along the road to bankruptcy. The explosive anti-British mood continued to support Mossadegh's policy of no compromise, which the Shah opposed. But when Mossadegh showed his intention to eliminate the Pahlavi dynasty, he overplayed his hand. His broad-based support began to evaporate. At the final showdown in August 1953, his support was coming mainly from the communists. He had become their prisoner.
Obviously, the communists were 100% behind him because they knew that they could topple him in no time. In matter of fact, when he was thrown out by the revolution of the people, and when we occupied the two-day headquarters and from some of the offices belonging to the party, we found out that they planned to overthrow him 2 weeks after my departure.
So if he had beaten you,
he would have been overthrown 2 weeks later, not more.
And in that case, Iran would have been in danger of becoming a communist state?
Another republic, yes.
Under Mossadegh, the number of communist officers in Iran's armed forces rose from 100 to 600 in less than a year, and a soldier of the Imperial Guard was involved in a later attempt on the Shah's life.
You finally gave a decree for Mossadegh's arrest, and he reacted by proclaiming the coup. But you left the country for Baghdad, where you were very nearly arrested, I think, by your own ambassador. Did you think it a gamble at the time? Did you think you might not be coming back?
Well, you think of everything, obviously. But my going was prepared. It was planned. That if my firman or my orders were not obeyed and carried out immediately, next move would be my departure.
According to most Western accounts of the final struggle between you and Mossadegh, the CIA played a big role in restoring you to power. Precisely what role did the CIA play in that?
Well, the CIA, like your people, like all the Western countries of the world, they were just trembling at seeing the rule of Mossadegh continuing. Some of the people involved from the CIA have already spoken, and they might elucidate this even more. CIA spent not more than $70,000 in this country during those days. If you can stage a coup with $70,000, then you can rule the whole world with just a couple of millions.
So you're saying they exaggerate, and Western accounts exaggerate?
Well, to that extent, you can draw your own conclusions. What can you do with $70,000?
There you go. So like the Shah of Iran is literally debunking the CIA installed him, because he's right. Like, what the heck can $70,000 do? The 70,000 basically just gave the Shah the funds that he needed to, like, you know, travel or like move things around. Guys, it's at the bottom of the screen. It's 1977. This documentary is 1977. It's right at the bottom of the screen on the ticker. I've shared the link to the interview before. I'll share it afterwards. When I'm done the live stream, it'll be in the video description.
Whatever the precise truth of
Well, to that extent, you can draw your own CIA, the rule of Mossadegh continuing. Some of the people involved from the CIA have already spoken, and they might elucidate this even more. CIA spent not more than $70,000 in this country during those days. If you can stage a coup with $70,000, then you can rule the whole world with just a couple of millions.
So you're saying they exaggerate, and Western accounts exaggerate?
Well, to that extent, you can draw your own conclusions. What can you do with $70,000?
Whatever the precise truth about the Shah's return to Iran in triumph after Mossadegh's defeat, one thing is for sure. Those who rose up in support of the monarch wouldn't have charged Mossadegh's machine guns with their bare hands for a fistful of dollars. The Shah had on occasions to appear as a nationalist prepared to compromise because he was determined to avoid his father's mistake of pushing the big powers too far, too fast. In December 1959, the Shah married Farah Diba. This was the Shah's third marriage. Neither of the others, first to Fawzia and then Soraya, had produced a son and heir. But by now, the Shah was looking for more than a wife who could bear him a son. What he most needed was a queen who would share with him the burdens of nation building. When her father, a soldier who studied law, died, Farah and her mother had to struggle to live. To marry the Shah, Farah Diba gave up a promising career in architecture. But in the years to follow, she would become, with the Shah's full support, an architect of radical social change in Iran.
When the king asked you to marry him, what were your thoughts?
Well, you know, I had always loved the king as the king to my country. Without question, he was my king, and I loved him. And I admired him, and I respected him. And of course, when he asked me to marry him, you know, it's difficult to change suddenly from the love of a
citizen to his king from between a man and a woman. I must say frankly that I felt, first of all, very proud, and because I admired him so much. And also, you know, when you're young and you're 19, 20 years of age, you think that when now I will become a queen and I could do so many things for my country. And that was also in my mind. It was not only my private life, but also that what I could be able to do.
A year after the marriage, Crown Prince Reza was born, with the continuation.
Guys, that's Baby Shaw. Guys, that's Baby Shaw. That's Baby Shaw, guys. Look. Here's a good picture of him. Look. That's our Shah when he was a baby. That's when he was a baby.
Of the dynasty now assured, barring accidents, the Shah had an added incentive for pushing ahead with his plans for reform.
In January 1962, you persuaded the cabinet to accept the land reform bill, but Parliament refused consistently to pass it. Why was that?
Well, Parliament were mostly belonging to the old establishment, although they were mostly doctors and mostly had a degree from very well-known universities. But still, by heart and the spirit was belonging to the established society.
What was called the 1,000 families, I think.
1,000, some people said 200, some people said more, but I'm not just going to say families. To the old established order, I would put it this way.
When they continued to resist your demand for change, did you think that you were again taking a risk? It was a pretty big risk, I would have thought.
Less in those days. First of all, I had more experience. Secondly, I had told people, and anyway, I had convinced myself that no country had more than a certain number of years in front of it before it could either reach an acceptable level of standard of living and progressive rules, or that country will disappear. That was very clear for me. And events are showing that probably I was right. You can't remain in this world full of intrigues and other things, a backward, miserable country, and still be independent. Independence with us is so important that in order to have it, to keep it, to consolidate it, we do anything. Fortunately, in our case, it was making reforms.
The Shah's first step towards land reform came in 1951, when he ordered the Crown lands to be redistributed by sale at concessionary prices to peasant farm workers. The Shah personally distributed thousands of title deeds.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break here because I just want to take a quick health break, and then we're going to come back and continue. I also have a few updates from President Trump, even though this is not Iran Revolution Live, but there are some updates from President Trump. So give me like 5 minutes. I'll be back.
غرق انقلاب است. کشور ما، تاریخ ما تفسیر گر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. هشتم سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش، ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب برخیز و باماش و هنگام تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در کار بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها در لباس میش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ای کارگر ای برزگر راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش خلقا به پا بحر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ویران آبادی تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های می از بر بالین و کیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش
با امید روزی که تمام این دل به شور و انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم
نه خارجی نه بیگانه نه مستشارهای ویرانی نه چیر خاران نه کاسه لیسان فقط هم رزمان ایرانی ما با شرافت میهنی بسازیم بهر فرزندان خویش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش مردم بیایید داخل صف ما اکنون که آغاز رویاست دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستیم بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش پرچم ما پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در هر خیابان و میدان تا ماسک دلغکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش ایران غرق انقلاب است به پیش به پیش به پیش
Muted. So guys, if I play Bapish now, you guys think it's the end of the show? I also play Bapish at the beginning of the show. What song should I play instead then? What should I play instead as a commercial break? Give me some suggestions. What should I play instead? Okay, you know what? I'll play this. How about there you go. Yeah, I'll play that from now on. Okay, guys. Some new posts from Truth Social, from President Trump on Truth Social. Guys. Okay, so President Trump posted, oh, my browser lost connection. All right, give me a moment. Let me reconnect. Whew. All right. This is why we doom scroll. So President Trump posted this video to his Truth Social.
We're in a war because I think you would agree we cannot let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. Do you agree?
I agree.
Whoa. Because if you read the fake polls and things, it says, well, that it's only a 20% or 25%. It's nonsense.
Yeah. President Trump is definitely bepeaching right now. Yep. Trump is bepeaching. So there's that. Also, President Trump just posted this. Guys, what is going on? President Trump just posted this to his Truth Social. He's got all the Uno wild cards, and he's like, I have all the cards. This is a major troll of the Islamic regime. Yeah. I actually think I have like a deck of Uno cards somewhere. So yeah. So President Trump just posted this. I have all the cards. Anyways, those are my updates. Those are my President Trump updates, right? Anyways, let's go back to the documentary. But to me, this is sounding like President Trump is saying that I'm coming for you. He's like, I'm coming for you guys. I'm coming for you. That's what it looks like to me. All right, let's go back to the last few. We have about 5 more minutes left of the documentary.
Making reforms.
The Shah's first step towards land reform came in 1951 when he ordered the Crown lands to be redistributed by sale at concessionary prices to peasant farm workers. The Shah personally distributed thousands of title deeds. The new landowning peasants were given 25 years to pay for the land. The funds so received were ploughed back into providing supporting services for the farmers.
Oh my gosh, what a dictator! What a dictator, guys! The Shah basically gave away crown land to the peasants who had been under the feudal system of the communists and the Islamists, right? So the Shah freed the people, gave them land. How dare he? How dare he free people? What a dictator! Oh my gosh, what an evil man! What a dictator for giving land to people.
The Crown lands to be redistributed towards
Making reforms.
Crown lands.
The Shah's first step towards land reform came in 1951 when he ordered the Crown lands to be redistributed by sale at concessionary prices to peasant farm workers. The Shah personally distributed thousands of title deeds. The new landowning peasants were given 25 years to pay for the land. The funds so received were ploughed back into providing supporting services for the farmers. The Shah's policy of redistributing the Crown lands was meant to be an example to the old establishment, which owned more than 50% of the land and was therefore the most influential power in the country. The Shah's battle with the feudal landowners and their allies of the extreme right and left was long and bloody and included another attempt on his life.
Oh, look, so the extreme left and right, the unholy alliance of the red and the black, when the Shah was giving land to the peasants, the extreme left and the extreme right didn't like that, so they tried to assassinate him again.
His personal war with the old establishment began in May of 1962, when Parliament rejected his proposals for nationwide land reform. At the time, Parliament was controlled by the landowners and an assortment of corrupt politicians. The Shah went over the heads of the politicians and appealed directly to the people for support for his reform program. At a special congress in Tehran, attended by 4,000 peasant delegates from all over the country, he made this commitment. I cannot remain a neutral onlooker in the struggle against the forces of evil, but have taken up the banner myself. So that no power can reinstate the regime of slavery in the villages and plunder the nation's wealth for the benefit of a minority, I have decided to refer these reforms to a referendum.
Wow, what a dictator. So the communists and the Islamists, right, accused the Shah of being a dictator because he wanted to free people. He wanted them not to be slaves. He wanted everyone to have an opportunity to be successful. The communists and the Islamists didn't like that. So the Shah went over their heads and basically had a referendum. So right now we're talking about the 1963 White Revolution, which we call Peyvand Shah Millat, which basically means the unity of the Shah and the people, right? So when you hear the woke left and the woke right accuse the Shah of being a dictator, this is what they mean, because the Shah was a dictator because he went over their heads and held a referendum in order to free the Iranian people. Yeah.
The villages and plunder the nation's wealth for the benefit of a minority, I have decided to refer these reforms to a referendum.
Yeah. Exactly. He was a populist.
The referendum which followed overwhelmingly endorsed the Shah's plans. After nearly a quarter of a century of struggle, he had found his power base. It was with the peasants and the common folk from whom he was descended. But to this day, the war against poverty and injustice which the Shah launched at the Peasant Congress has not been finally won. The progress Iran has made under the leadership of the Shah and Queen Farah is impressive and far-reaching. But because the country was so poor, much still needs to be done. Most ominous of all, some of the old feudal mentality remains in Iran. There are still those, including some in very high places, who dream of a return to the old days of power and privilege for the minority at the expense of those still poor. When the Shah launched his ambitious program of land reform, he said, "What we have started is not a reform limited to land, but something that will change Iranian society." In the second and third of these film reports, I will be investigating the reality of change and the consequences of it. What happens when a nation ceases to be merely the object of the policies of others and becomes a developing country whose decisions and actions will play an increasing part in shaping the destiny of all nations.
So guys, what'd you think of that? By the way, guys, this is only part one. This is part one of a 3-part documentary series. So did you guys like that? I'm not going to play part 2 tonight, but we'll do part 2 another night. But isn't that informative? Yeah. I'm not going to play part 2 tonight, guys. It's close to midnight. You're awake. Play part 2. I can't. I mean, I'm honestly like I'm doom scrolling, but you know, I'm literally setting my alarm for 3 a.m. I'm setting my alarm for 3 a.m. because just in case something happens in Iran, I just want to wake up at 3 a.m. to make sure that No, I can't do an all-nighter. I have a date tomorrow night. I have to look somewhat refreshed for my date tomorrow night. So I can't stay up I can't stay up much later. I have plans tomorrow evening. So I need a little bit of sleep, but I'm gonna wake up at like, in like 4 or 5, no. I'm gonna like set my alarm, wake up in 3 hours, because I'm literally gonna be monitoring X like every 3 hours now. So I have to get a little bit of sleep because I do have not enough Mossad dip. That reminds me of like that scene from SNL, like needs more cowbell. Was it Christopher Hitchens? He's like needs more cowbell. Yeah, that's pretty funny. You wrote the Empress an email once and she responded. Yeah, she's really good at that. She's amazing. Large Capital Gaming. Goldie, what do I say to my other Persian friends who say the Shah was a bad person and that docs like this are not sources of truth? I mean, your friends are brainwashed, unfortunately, because they've been dealing with like jihadi Islamist communist propaganda for their entire lives. So I would just tell them to just go and like read history because, facts don't lie. Either that or your friends are like lefty communists, right? So it's one or the other. But hopefully, like, I don't know, just share these documentaries with them. Maybe. So, okay, guys. I am going to go to sleep. But I will play part 2 another night. And of course, I'll play part 3. But yeah, guys, I know I haven't done documentary watch parties in a very long time, and I apologize. But I will definitely strive to do more documentary watch parties because these are so important and they're also a lot of fun. So, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna end the live stream here. And if something crazy happens, I'll know in like 3 hours and I might be back. But until then, thank you everyone for joining for, the Goldie Show. And I will end it off. Don't worry, guys. I will end it off with a few songs for you guys. But you know what? I want to play this video that I always play at the beginning. So this video is always in my intro. And I hope that now you have a little bit more context, right? Like, watch this.
When you look at the crowds today, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 people here. On the streets yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Does that not give you concern? Does that not make you afraid?
Because they are afraid. Yeah, that's right. And most of the people don't say anything because they are afraid. And they are in silence, you know. They don't say anything.
Is this the silent majority of Iran out here now?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want the Shah to return?
Yes, Shah. Return to the country.
What about you, Why do you want the Shah? Why does she want the
ما شاه میخوان ما بیچاره شاه کشتنش حلاله کجای قرآن گفته.
Do you guys see now why people are so upset that the Shah is gone? They're freaking out and they're like, we want the Shah back, right? Even just like that part 1 of that 3-part documentary series, because we only watched part 1 tonight, right? It adds a lot of context. It adds a lot of context to this video, doesn't it?
When you look at the crowds today, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 people here. On the streets yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Does that not give you concern? Does that not make you afraid?
Because they are afraid. Yeah, that's right. And most of the people don't say anything because they are afraid. And they are in silence, you know. They don't say anything.
Is this the silent majority of Iran out here now?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want the Shah to return?
Yes, Shah. Return to the country.
What about you, Why do you want the Shah? Why does she want the
ما شاه میخوان ما بیچاره شاه کشتنش حلاله کجای قرآن گفته.
Heartbreaking, but very important, right? Very important. For those of you who want to continue the conversation, there's always my Discord channel. It's a community I created for you guys. Link to the Discord is in the video live stream description. I don't join very often. I'm probably not going to join tonight, but I know a lot of you are on Discord, and we do have like a great community there. The community is growing. Make sure that when you join that you open up a ticket. I don't know how that works. I have some amazing admins who do that kind of stuff. Just follow the instructions on the Discord so you can open up a ticket in order to get approved, I guess. Because that's how we keep out the Durkas. We gotta keep the Durkas out of the Discord channel. But there you go. For those who want to keep the conversation going and want to talk to one another, that's where the Discord is at. And there's a lot of fun memes and stuff in there. Like you guys are hilarious. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate the community we've built. All right, guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And Discord. I don't know what you're saying. Sorry. All right. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. پاینده ایران جاوید شاه. کلام من به تو یار قدیمی منم همون هوادار قدیم.
سوویت سلام، چطوری مردک کلی کتلت شدین دایی بدون مدرک. سلام بسیجی قهرمان رفتی پیش توسی با پنیر و یه نون سنگک. سلام به محفل قرآنیتون، سلام به مدیرای بحرانیتون، سلام به حاجی اکبر و طوله هاش و خارج و رفقای ارگانیتون، سلام به دزدای پول ملت که تش میفتین توی تور ملت. سلام به همه شما کرکسایی که دارین نونتون رو میزنین تو خون ملت تا که تش زیر دست و پاک و تک بخورین. حالا هی به یه بادکنک بدوین. سلام آخر تو زندان باشه وقتی قرار به این آب خنک بخورین. مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا، ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا. مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا، ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا. اینو بگذاریم به خاک میرسیم، تجزیه طلبی که به خاک بیرسیم. ایران مردمش وطن پرستن، از کرد تا بلوچ بری به فاک میرسی. توف به هر چی مرسی است، توف به هر کی در پی تجزیه است، توف به لوی و همونی که شیفته ی گل ملیگران تو وطن خدا نستی هست. سر کردستان همه برپا شدن، بلوچستان فدای مهسا شدن. پرچم واحد که شیر و خورشید ما بقی جعلیا تنها شدن. شادی باشه واسه همه در میهن، کور بشه چه شهر چی اهریمن. رخه رو بگی تا اون 6 کلاس سواد و خبرگان و مشت سری ترجیحن. شبهای عروس و دامادی باشه برن سلامتی نوش کنن آبادی باشه. مقصد کجاست؟ میدون شهیاده به سمت اتوبان آزادی باشه. سلام به نسل ندید پدیدا، نبودیم ندیدیم قدیمتی ما. شاه بود تو شادی کل میزدین، حالا شاه بر میگرده پیک میزنین. مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا، ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا. مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا، ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا. مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا، ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا.
فاهنگ به این خوشگلی با نوایده بود، اسم این مشخواهن رو توش بیاریم ولی خب لازم بود دیگه. فکر کنم با نوایده
is dead, is dead.
وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه آمون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه آمون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. روبروم یه واژه یه هدف به نام انتقامه، پشت سرم دعای مادر و تو دستم تفنگ بابامه. رو زبونم اسم شاه بگین عشق بی انتهاست، هر جا اسم ایران اومد اونجا صدای بچه رضاست. فردا می نویسن تو کتاب قصه دیمار، بگو با تیر جنگی کشتن بچه های بیگناه رو. بگو از بخت مادرها شیر زنا و دختران، بگو تنها شهید شدیم تا تنها نمونه شامون. وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه آمون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه.
amber light, sirens and gunfire in the dead of night. They took our voices, they shut the net. The not our will, not our regret. Now hear us say, without any apology, America, send your angels of liberty. Angels of liberty, unleash your fire, and the Islamic regime lift us higher. Angels of liberty, hear our cry. Freedom is born when you fill our sky. Angels of liberty, strong and true, our old ally USA. We stand